that exists now.
I'm a non-binary goblin. I'm not quite sure where I'm from. I live predominantly underground, and I come to the service to look for food.
Yes, because he's a chef.
A non-binary goblin named Chef.
Chef. So what I do is
Chocolate balls.
chocolate bread. So my background is charlatan. 'Cause
Charlatan.
I do try and goad my chieftains into doing things, and I am pretty much just a little chef with a big cookbook.
A little chef with a big cookbook that he uses as.
Oh, sorry.
Alright. Okay, so can you guys hear one another? Other than of us being able to hear me, I kind of want you all to be able to hear each other. So can you hear him?
I can hear
Alright, that's good. That's good. All right, so Dane.
Alright, so my character is Don Nambe.
What?
Don Nambe.
Don.
Oh my
Donnabe.
goodness.
Shut up.
I'm calling you Don.
Yes.
Hell no, I'm
Dong
giving you that
Nambe.
name.
Yes.
I ain't giving you that name, man.
In Chinese, basically.
So Don, you are a
I'm a jealousy.
a male, female,
Cannot say.
non-binary.
More non-binary characters.
They're really popular right now. Non-binary Earth Genasi.
Yeah, Ranger.
Did Ahmed tell you to make that one?
No, he set it up for me.
All right, and your background is
I'm an outlander.
you're an outlander. Excellent. So what's your as a ranger at level 1? What's your favorite enemy and favorite terrain?
Favorite enemy, I would say monsters.
Monsters. Do you want to change that to beasts? Because it'll be very useful in this one.
Yeah, let's go with
Yeah,
these.
people don't really think about the rangers, but I like rangers.
I use a ranger in my other campaign.
Rangers are like the forgotten.
They are the forgotten class.
It's one of the forgotten
Because you
class,
have fighters who can do the same thing.
The rangers get their primeval awareness, man. That shit's
I
kicking.
like purple.
It's cooking, but not enough. We got action surges and other
Fine.
stuff and second wind.
Got you. Anyway, so yeah, your
Yeah.
favorite
but
enemy is beast.
beast, favorite land will be grassland.
Grassland, not forest.
No, at forest.
Are you sure?
Are you
When the
sure?
DM says, "Are you sure?" You better be sure.
I know it's gonna be like one adventure, but then yeah, you know what? Let's go with forest. JCC, are you sure? Quote.
Are you sure?
All right. So beasts and forests.
Yes.
And forests. All right. So we can run this game a little bit faster now.
Yes.
If not, there's gonna be a lot of random as hell encounters.
Oh god.
All right. It's an It's a wilderness type campaign. So you're
Okay.
gonna try
Oh.
that. All right. So Constance, Mr. D20.
Okay.
Mr. 20.
My name is Mitra. Mitra Emerger.
Mitra.
Yeah.
All right. Mitra.
I call it Mitra. He's a human fighter.
Male.
He's male.
Male human fighter. Not non-binary.
I'll refrain from having non-binary here for now.
No, he's full on binary.
He's full on binary. This is a cisgen
My background is noble,
noble background.
and I have a very protected heirloom of my great axe.
All right. So as a noble from where exactly? Oh, actually, no. Sorry. That doesn't really apply because this is the
doesn't really
Pathfinder
apply,
setting.
yeah.
But what kind of noble do you think you are? Like, are you the first son, second son, third son,
I'm probably
or
the-
fallen noble? What?
Probably one of the middle of the sandwich, lettuce of the sandwich, the middle son, like third, fourth
Middle
son.
son. All right. So the forgotten son.
The forgotten son, yeah.
Okay, all right. So you're the forgotten son of a noble
middle
family, the middle child of the family who realizes that they've got no claim to their family's heirloom. So you're just going out adventuring on your own.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I can roll with that. All right. So and our new player,
I am Enchulanin.
Enchulanin. Enchulanin.
Yes.
Do you have a nickname?
They call me Chu.
Call me Chu.
Mr. Chu!
So Chu, you are
I am a human monk.
a human monk, a male human monk.
Yes, I am a male human monk.
Male versus binary.
Chap?
I used to be a soldier.
Yeah, I know.
Back
It's
in
Chap,
the
but I said Chap.
day.
So your background is soldier.
It's Chap, yeah.
And
My name
that's
is
how I
Chef.
got my nickname of Chu because people kept bullying me and everything.
What are you, Goblin? What?
Quite sad.
All right. So
Oh, Goblin
you were a soldier
Yeah.
who got bullied, and so you left the army.
Yeah, I left the army not because of just that, and because I really hate violence.
I'm just
I
a
don't
monk,
really
so
like
I'm-
violence.
You're a monk.
I'm just gonna use all my
With
one spells.
full
I'm too
flurry
lazy
of
to,
blows.
Try and think about anything
Well,
else.
I'm a very different type of monk. It's
Okay.
like
A
I'm
pacifist
one of
monk.
those enlightenment, want to find inner peace, and try to
Oh,
find
okay,
something
okay,
that-
all right, all right, okay. I can roll with this. I can roll with this.
But if I have to, I will use my fist to beat the living ever peace out of me.
Okay, all right. I can roll with this.
I
can
am
roll
very
with this.
peaceful.
I am a peaceful man.
I give you peace.
Be
Take
one
my
with
peace
nature.
offering.
All right, we can roll with that. We can roll with that. Oh wait, are we starting already? Have we started? Are we actually on already?
Yes, we are on air, so all that is here. We like
Oh,
to
damn.
give peace.
Okay.
A monk that gives peace by punching
All
him
right.
in the face.
Okay. We're actually on already. Are we actually streaming already? Well, all right. I look like an idiot now.
That's half the show.
That's half the show. Me looking like an idiot. All right. So howdy, everybody, and hello to the second day of BestCon, where we'll be playing a one-shot game. Just as everybody's aware, the time constraint we have today is about 2 hours because our buddy Chu over here has a tournament at 4, so we'll try to keep this as brief as possible. So if you feel that I'm pushing the game a little bit too fast, it's because we have a time constraint. If that's okay with everybody. How about everyone else? Y'all okay with your time?
I'm good.
You know? Okay. So, just so that you all are aware with what kind of game we're playing today, this is a game from a module that I played early in my DMing games called The Hollow's Last Hope. And it's definitely one of my favorites because it came out, it was one of the first games I ever got to play. And so the setting is that you guys as adventurers, you take the beaten path and you go onto a caravan heading to a little bit somewhere closer to the mountain range just to get away from the big city of it all, trying to find the boonies, just to live that country life. However, in the village that you guys have arrived in, called Falcon's Hollow, which is the name of this little town, you find that the population of this town, although small, have gotten hit by a plague called the Black Scour. And so notably everybody's getting like coughs and you can see some of their skin starting to turn black and everything. And the adventure is that, the quest is that you guys are here to help this town, heal themselves from this plague that's going about. So your own motivations are up to you, but for you, I guess humans don't taste as very good if they're diseased. So that's him.
Oh my god, you're a cannibal.
He's a goblin.
Goblin eat anything.
Yeah, goblins eat anything. So and he's a chef. So yeah, everything's
Meat's on the menu, boys. Meat.
Meat. Very interesting.
all right. So that's the game that we'll be playing today. All right. So if you're all good, you have your everything's ready. As per usual, we have some new players, some relatively new players here. This is the experienced, the non-binary side. And we've got some new players. So for you guys, simple enough, I'll narrate. And if you feel like you want to do something, just tell me what you want to do and I'll tell you like the mechanism for it. So you don't need to think about too much of the rules. All right, so with that, we can get started. Let us... Okay, so it's a little bit noisy. All right, sure, that's fine. Okay, dokey. All right. So just to set the scene here, I've set the map down there, and just so that you're all familiar with what that is, that little giant bush thing over there is the titular name, the Dark Moon Vale. It's a large forest that grows a very specific kind of wood called the Dark Moon Wood. It's very dark, very sturdy wood that grows very, very tall, and its canopy is so high that it feels like when you're going through it in the middle of the day, it's almost as if you're being shrouded by night. That's how, and these woods are very well sought after in the rest of the world, but they grow very specifically only in this one spot. Now, the little town of Falcon's Hollow, the town is actually made up of mostly workers, lumberers, and people who work with wood, carpenters and that kind of thing. And the entire town is run by the consortium. The consortium, the logging consortium. So all the loggers. This is the town that they've put together just so that they can, operate and live nearby the place that they work. So as you guys move on over, and you move by the river that runs beside the Falcon's Hollow down from the tall Droskar's Crag, the tallest mountain in the region. You see the river that flows by down it next to Droskar's Crag, and floating inside the river is a bunch of logs. This is how they transport some of the felled logs. And as they pass by Falcon's Hollow, right at the edge of the riverside, this is where they pick them up and they process some of that wood. You guys, coming from more south, head up north, and as the air starts getting a little bit colder, you familiarize yourselves with one another, and you out of all things, binary, non-binary, you feel like, it's like, hey, we've all got our own thing. Let's just make the best of what we've got today. I guess in terms of motivation, chef over here, yeah, you're looking for something delicious to eat, and if there's a very unique forest, then what kind of unique creatures live in this unique forest? I mean, there's got to be something special inside that forest for you to eat, something to chomp on, and
Possibly plump ducks.
possibly plump ducks. Possibly plump ducks. This is very true. Don, Earth Genasi, Ranger. The forest of the Dark Moon Vale is a very secluded ecosystem. For you who know the wilderness, know the forests, and know the land, kind of feel conflicted that this very unique wood and ecosystem is being chopped down by the local loggers. And you just feel a compulsion to, see whether the forest is being abused or not.
If they gotta respect some trees, I will smack them back.
Yep. So you're now what's it? Greenpeace. He's
Yes.
Greenpeace, the forest people.
Yeah.
Yep. Only you can prevent forest fires.
Oh yeah, don't forget, Mr. Beast, 2020. Come on.
2020. All right. For our cisgendered gentleman over here, Mitra, human fighter noble. Falcon's Hollow is a popular place for a lot of people to start anew. A lot of criminals or a lot of people on the run, maybe a lot of refugees, they find work with this consortium and they start a new life. It might not be the best life, it might not be the most lavish of lives, but it's somewhere that they can start anew. And for you, the middle child, it seems like a good place to start. You're not gonna inherit anything from your family, your name is only a name, so might as well, start your life somewhere where it's suitable. So you don't mind? No, you're a fighter. You can swing a sword. You might be able to swing an axe.
My heirloom is an axe.
Yeah. So no, it seems like it's suitable. And Chu,
I just need peace. I just want a peaceful life. Probably live a normal life.
that's true. Yeah. Chu, as a monk yourself, as a new monk to the ways of the monks. Dark Moon Vale, other than being part of the special wood itself and the Falcon's Hollow, you also know from some history that there used to be a dwarven monastery nearby, a place where old dwarves that were focused in the ways of forging. This is they had a monastery somewhere in this area that was secluded themselves, and that seems just about the right kind of thing for you. Seclusion, being one with nature, that seems about right. All right. So eventually, as you guys talk to one another on your month-long trip towards Falcon's Hollow, you see the river and you see the town. A town made of dark wooden caverns and cabins.
And some mysterious fog.
And as a mysterious fog rolls through the area, it's starting to get into winter. You know, it's a little bit chilly. You know, no, but nothing too bad right now. A little bit of frost around the grass around the area. So as you make your way to Falcon's Hollow, the first thing you notice is as you unmount yourselves from the wagons and you go into town, you hear a bunch of and that's me actually coughing from that. And as you look about, you see not many people, but a lot of sickly looking people. There's a lot of people coughing, there's a lot of people sneezing, a lot of people going hacking, and occasionally you see one or two people with like a black fingers or black toes or black patches all across their body. And you think, frostbite? It's a little bit too early in winter to have frostbite. And so, you know, it starts concerning you a little bit. And so as you guys arrive in this small town, what do you do first?
I cover up my nose.
Goblins are not known for hygiene, but this shit nasty. So you cover your face with your cloak.
Looks like no good meat here. No good meat.
And as our goblin chef is disgusted by the poor selection of poultry. Anyone else?
Where's the doctor in this place?
Where's the doctor?
You look around and
Where's the doctor? Where's the doctor?
and as several people go, they just go, we ain't got no doctor. You might as well go to the medicine store. Everybody else is. We got no doctor.
I'll look around the area.
There's not much to look around at. There's a few cabins, few caravans, some chicken here and there. It's a pretty shanty town, and from the looks of it, not a lot of men are in this town. There seems to be mostly elderly people, some women, some children. No real men, not like the really strong-built men. And you wonder whether it's probably because they're out still working at the forest, chopping down the wood. So maybe these are just mostly families that live here.
Maybe obviously for me, I was just looking around. Since I heard there's a lot of older people here,
Yes, they
I
are.
might as well ask a few people, one of the elderly there, and get wondering what happened to the village.
Alright, so as you just find someone nearby, as you're all moving through the town, you eventually find somebody who looks like she's free, just in the little center square area where they seem to be selling some stuff. They seems to be selling some pretty bad stuff. There's like hard bread. There seems to be scraps of little wooden statues and stuff like that. Nothing really spectacular, and even the bread itself looks super moldy but really hard. And as you find this one lady who seems to be just waiting for guests to come by, she just looks at you and is like,
Can I help you, dearie?
I was like wonder. I'm wondering what happened to this village. It looks so dark, dreary, and utterly disgusting.
and she looks at you and is like,
Well, those are the most common adjectives people use to describe our little place here. We're a dreary, dark, and kind of sickly type of town. Can I help you with anything else? Maybe some bread.
and she offers you some really hard black bread.
I push him away. And I take
Maybe
the
next
bread.
time. Maybe next time.
You can take that bread.
You take the bread, and then as you cover your mouth and look at the bread, it is really hard. Like you would have to soak this thing in water for like 5 minutes before it was a little bit malleable. If you were to try to sink your teeth into this, you might break your teeth.
So I keep.
You keep, as you pocket it into your stomach, into your little pocket to the side. The lady says, "Excuse me, that would be 2 copper pieces." And you're at a shop right now. 2 copper pieces? That's like way cheap. The equivalent to that in Brunei dollars would be like 2 cents. 2 cents for like a loaf of bread.
Well, for me, I don't think that hard thing worth any money.
It certainly doesn't look like it. And so she just says, for 2 coppers, that would be nice. Okay.
I rummage through my little pouch.
You rummage through your pouch, through all your leftover ingredients and stuff like that.
I find a lint
You find some lint.
and I throw it away. I go back into that. And eventually I'll find 1 copper piece.
1 copper piece. As she looks at it, it's like, that's the one. That's the one. There should be another one on top of that too.
Hold on. I look through.
You look through.
Still covering.
Still covering your mouth. This is a very hygienic goblin.
Only when it comes to bad meat.
Only when it comes to bad meat, alright?
Anything else, fair game.
Okay, so you continue rummaging through your pouch.
I find. I'm pretty sure I have some. Yeah, I find another copper piece.
You eventually find another copper piece, and as she looks towards the two copper pieces, she's like, "That's just about right, sweetie." And as she looks, you pass the copper to her, and she gets her face closer.
I avoid any touch.
Yep. And so you just like disgustingly pass to copper piece, and she's like, oh dear, almost dropped it there, little boy. And as she looks towards you and squints her face, she just goes, hi. And she's like, are you sick too? You look a little green. So the elderly lady says to the goblin.
Me and Mitra be like chuckling on the side, like.
And then I'll say to the old lady, hey, how about this? I'll take 5 of this bread.
And she looks at you and she's like, 5?
Yes.
5 of the breads?
Are you sure about that, Mitra?
That's my entire stock, sweetie. Are you sure?
I am very sure.
Okay.
I'll give, as a noble, I have some class.
Yes, you do.
So in my immaculate wallet, I take out around 10 copper pieces.
10 copper pieces, all
So I
right.
just pass it to him.
You pass her like a handful of copper pieces, and she grabs them like, oh my, why, thank you. And she like passes it and is like, oh, but I don't have the breads with me right now. How about an IOU?
I feel that you got scammed.
Someone got scammed.
You just got scammed, boy.
I whispered to him, I thought those breads can be used as weapons. You throw it.
All
I mean-
considering, you might, yeah.
I mean, that is a smart choice.
Right. And so as she looks so as she looks towards you, and she has no more bread to give you. It looks like she wasn't even expecting the one loaf of bread to be sold.
Okay.
So she didn't bring anything else.
Okay, so maybe you can tell us more about this place?
And she just, oh, of course, dearie. And then we'll call it even. Well. And then she just squints and looks close to you. What would you like to know about our little hollow?
Why the meat is bad.
Why is the meat bad?
Yes.
Are you referring to the chickens?
Let me rephrase it for my little...
They don't really have much to eat. We usually just give them whatever. I mean, even some of their, droppings, sometimes some of their feathers, we just grind up into flour and use it in our bread. I mean, we do not grind up the feathers and use it in our breads. That would be unhygienic.
Halt, chef.
What happened to the people here? Like, with
People.
their
Call them
skin and
people,
all?
not meat. People.
As you ask her what's wrong with the people, she answers you, "Oh, well, unfortunately, we've had a little bit of an ill spell at the moment currently. There seems to be a bad case of the plague that's going around."
What kind of plague is it?
I'm not the kind of person who would know that kind of thing. All I know is I eat and drink from the things I collect myself, and that's why I am the picture of health. But if you were wondering, most of the sick usually head over to Laurel.
Picture of health.
Okay.
Akhirnya bisa check out picture.
Okay, go ahead and roll for insight to see what you glean from this old lady.
That is. Wow, that's good, right? 18.
18. Oh, okay. So, I mean, you're a ranger and an outlander. You're not really good at reading people. People aren't really your forte. Not like beasts are. But I mean, when people are sick, animals usually tend to avoid the sick, and that's kind of what you're seeing here. She sees the sick, and she's mostly avoiding the sick. So she's pretty smart in her own right, but she doesn't seem like the strongest of people. So as she just tells you, you can follow the rest of the sick and the ill and meet up with our local doctor, if you would rather call her that. Her name is Laurel. She lives down the street. But good luck speaking to her. She's a little bit of a tough gal.
Let's go.
And as you guys head off, it's like, so I no longer owe you anything now. Bye. So as you guys head off, and you eventually follow the direction that she's pointing, it doesn't take you very long to see the line of maybe 20 to 30 people in front of what looks to be a small little hut store that has a little sign on top of it that reads out the roots and remedies. And so, as you see a bunch of people, and you do notice some of them young, some of them old, definitely have those black spots on top of them. And it looks like they've been waiting here in the cold. Some of them are holding onto their scarves, and they're just waiting here in line. The door doesn't seem to have opened, and it is still somewhat early morning, like 9 a.m. ish in the morning. And so as you're just waiting there in line, you can hear a bunch of people in the crowd just go.
I now wrap myself.
You completely wrap yourself around, and as
I'll just go way at the back of you people.
I'll crouch behind the goblin.
Do you move away? Do you move away from the line, the queue, or are you staying in the queue?
I'm just gonna be behind these guys and be like, okay, I ain't touching this.
All right. So as you wait in line,
I'll just go.
I see the line.
and you just skip the line.
I'll just follow them.
All right.
I'll follow the rules and I'll just line up with them.
Okay, so as you guys wait up, and because you're covering your mouth and everything, you don't need to do this. You don't need to do this next part. But as you're there just waiting in line, hiding behind the goblin, it's not really helpful. He's small and you're like much bigger. You're a human. So as the people around you just go, and common decency doesn't really apply to these people. As they look around, as they turn around behind them and see you, they go and cough in your face. And as you move away from the back, you're like, oh, whoa, nasty. And some people arrive behind you, joining the queue. And as you bump into them, you turn around and you see someone covered with black spots as they go, oh, excuse me, and cough right on top of you. I'd like both of you to make Constitution saving throws. So roll a d20 and add your Constitution modifier.
And that's what hit me for this.
You bitch!
You gotta quit.
You bitch!
Plus
See what I mean? I'm trying to
Oh
kill
god,
him.
got an 8.
plus 24.
You're killing him instead.
22? What? An 8.
I got an 8.
Oh no, your modifier is the small plus number.
Yeah, small number.
Yeah, that one. So your ability score would be the number itself, but then your modifier is the plus something.
So it's 10.
Alright, so 10. 10 makes it, and of course a fucking natural 20 makes it. So,
Someone's better.
Alright, to the viewers who don't
I
know,
used the wrong dice for this.
So
to the
the
viewers,
guy that coughed into me, I just go on, open my, just sweat my face out of this.
yep. So he coughs into your face, and you just go, oh, and you close your mouth, you close your nose, and you close your eyes, and just go.
As for me, I pulled out my great axe and just stuck.
Nope. In your case, you reacted so fast, you're like, no. You've successfully defended against disease. And so as the both of you felt like you dodged a bullet there for a moment, you're like, ew. So as we follow back to Dawn over here.
I'm out of line. I'm out of line. I ain't doing this.
to the viewers who don't know why
Oh my goodness
why
gracious.
our DM suddenly mad to our one player on this guy, if you have any players who roll a constant natural 20s, sometimes in a rows or multiple times in the same game or adventure,
I bought these from the store.
That's right, he bought those from Wild Magic Store. Please visit us and stop by our
Or
IG.
come by right now.
Or come by right now.
At
We're here at
RBRC.
at RBRC.
Visit us.
Stop on down. We've got plenty of dice.
yes. So yeah, that's
So,
why.
anyways, back to the game. So Dawn,
Done.
so Dawn, as you move away from the line and you hear the sounds of and you hear your friends just dodging the plague, literally,
I just don't care.
you're just like, yeah, no. As you walk on by, the people like, hey, we were in line first, and as they're all trying to shout towards you, they're also going. I would like you to make a Constitution saving throw.
10.
Oh,
What?
that makes it because he makes it.
Fine, he makes it. All right, and
I
so
just keep walking down
you're just
again.
like, whoa, no. just no to that. I cannot be sick today. No. And so you move on by, and they're like, wait, but they're like way too sore to stop you. And the goblin here, he's like, goblins are supposed to be the dirty ones, and yet, and so. As you guys see Dawn and you see yourselves dodging the plague, you realize, yeah, we're not waiting in line. Let's move out of the line and just fucking follow Dawn. And so, excuse me. So excuse me, line skippers. But then they're way too sick to try to stop you. So as you move on down and you make your way towards the front of the crowd, you just immediately knock onto the door. As you get closer, the cool air stopped you from smelling it earlier, but as you're getting closer and closer, you smell the smells of herbs, dry leaves, some flowers, the smells of ointments and something pickled. As you see a warm hearth inside, like a burning, and as you knock onto the door, you hear the sounds. Who there at the door? We're not open yet.
My name's Don.
I don't care who your name is. My store is not open yet.
Can I smell through all the?
Oh yeah, you can smell it. It's a strong smell of incense and herbs and that kind of thing.
Smells like someone cooking.
It's like, I ain't no cooking.
You master arts of cook.
It's like, I'm a master of whatever I want to be. And so as you guys just decide and open the door.
Yep.
And you hear the ching 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 of the tingling of the door. She says like, what did I say? My store is not open yet. Close that damn door before the illness comes in.
I come in and close the door.
Are you gonna stuck in the cold?
Did you just slam the door in our face?
Yes, I did.
What just happened?
And so as the non-binary group enters, and you guys are like, yeah, and then you hear the sounds of people going, like,
We want to get into.
We should go in. Let's go in fast.
you literally
I just hold the door.
and you
I hold the door.
and you're like, no, keep the illness out.
And me, I'll be like, and I'll be there kicking the door.
I want to go in. We want to go in.
The moment you kick, open the door.
And as you tumble through the door while busting through, you close the door once again.
Yes.
And
Damn it,
she's
Dawn.
like, and as she looks towards you and is like, well, at least if you're moving that spryly, I know y'all ain't sick. So, what the hell do you want? As you look up and see the woman here, it is a dark-skinned woman, an elderly dark-skinned woman with braids in her hair tied up into a kind of ponytail, with glasses, half-rimmed glasses. As she looks towards you, she looks like an elderly lady. As she looks towards y'all, again, in a kind of like in irritation, she's like, my store isn't open yet. What do y'all want?
I would like to see if she has a lot of meat on it.
A lot of meat on her, as in, she is an elderly lady and she's under a lot of clothes, but just judging from the meat on her face, not really all that much. Not a lot of the people in this town have been very meaty, let's say. And so you see her and you don't see a lot of meat. Definitely not soup material.
Not good for stew.
And she looks down at the goblin and is like, oh, a goblin talking about stew. You thinking of eating me, boy? Or girl? Or whatever the hell you are?
Still not good for stew. No. Too much fire. Too much fire.
I wanna see around the clinic, I guess.
It's a little bit of a store. There's a lot of dry herbs just, like dangling out. A few pots growing, a few plants. There's a lot of those glass mason jars with like something pickled inside. And it looks like she's some sort of alchemist or herbalist. There seems to be a lot of kit here that shows that like a mortar that she's in the middle of grinding and everything. And she just goes back, like, well, if you're not all here to get the hell out of my face, I'm gonna get back to my work. And she heads over to her mortar and continues grinding. I'm in trouble. And she looks at you. Am I in trouble? Y'all the ones who busted into my house.
We need to know why meat is bad here.
And she looks towards the rest of you. It's like, oh. And she looks towards you with an almost kind of like it's like, oh really kind of look. She's like, oh, so are you here to save us from the plague? Is that what's happening now? You some kind of heroes? She
We're
looks
just wondering why it's happening.
Well, just not as hero.
Yeah, we're just passing by and just wondering what the hell happened.
And she looks like, have you seen the people out there? The plague is what's happening. You have eyes?
Yes, we are. Yes.
And she continues to grind. And she just goes like, well, so if y'all are afraid of the plague, are you here to buy some of my ointments too? And I take it that y'all men and some of y'all, I don't know what the hell y'all are, but are you here for some of them aphrodisiacs too? I got some of them too.
Is there any?
I pass.
Is there any strong incense?
Where's the ointment?
Is there any what?
Strong incense.
Strong incense? Yeah, there's a lot of incense smells around here.
Where's the ointment?
Too strong incense.
And she looks at you and says, oh, you're interested in the ointment? I got some here. And she pulls up some from the counter nearby her, and she gives you what looks to be like a salve inside a little tin. And it's like, she passes it open to you, and she opens, and it's a salve. It smells like herbs and stuff.
Do I know what the herbs are?
As a fighter, noble, not really. A lot of the herbs that you know as a noble smell bad, and some of them work, but you're not really skilled in that kind of thing. But if you would like to try, I would like you to make a nature check or a medicine check.
You will like this, isn't that one?
You know nothing, Jon Snow. You know nothing, Mitra.
I'm like,
Oh my goodness!
Can I try tasting?
That was the first
You
bad
can try
one.
tasting it. Yeah, as you taste it, it tastes nasty, a little buttery, a little fatty. Not the best kind of sauce. It might work with some things, but it seems not like the kind of thing you'd put in your body.
I'm gonna do some nature check on it.
A nature check?
Yep.
Nature check or medicine check?
Medicine.
Medicine.
Medicine check. All right, go ahead. Go ahead and roll for medicine.
Total 20.
Well, I mean, you're a ranger. Working with salves in the forest is a very handy thing. When you get a cut and there's nowhere to heal, if you can't heal, you can't do anything,
Incense.
using medicine on yourself to stop the bleeding, that's useful. And you're familiar with that kind of salves and that kind of ointment. However, this thing is a glorified clay patch. You're not sure if it has any effect on anything, if any. It is just a useless piece of thing. And as she looks at you, as you're tasting it and you're all sniffing it, and she's like, that will be 5 gold coins for that salve right there.
Useless ointment. Useless
Again,
ointment.
the equivalent here would be like 50 Brunei dollars.
Hold on, mine is fun. Useless ointment. Doesn't do anything for the people.
And she looks like, oh, I beg to differ. These people over here could get whatever medicine they need, and they're willing to pay for it.
Did you take money from them? Greedy people. Doesn't belong this world. Too greedy.
It's not greedy, it's a demand and a supply.
I want some deal. As I look at the medicine, I'll be like, I don't think that these
Don't
would
touch
work.
it! Drop it! Drop it!
Okay. And so you're very sure these kind of things don't work. And she looks at you and kind of like she's insulted. It's like, oh, you think you can do better? Is it? You think you can do better than what I can do here?
Yes! I can do better than you!
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
really?
Trust the ranger.
Trust the
Yes, she's
ranger.
the ranger.
Oh, Mr. Ranger who knows everything about everything. So how would you save these people then?
When these people sick.
Oh.
When meat bad.
Oh, they've been sick for a long time. But if you're talking about the black stuff, that happened maybe a week ago.
Hey, what happened a week ago?
What happened a week ago? Everybody started getting sick. I don't remember.
Are you sure that you don't
Success.
remember, or there's something behind this?
I'd like you to make an insight check.
Roll it.
You rolled a 20 first.
And add your insight modifier.
15,
Your wisdom is.
Oh.
Where's your wisdom? 17.
17.
17. You want to help people. And soldiers, you follow a lot of orders. There's always a proper procedure to things. And that's kind of ingrained to you. How she describes these things is how you know some of the army superiors that you had who wanted to shove their responsibility off to other people. This is how you would respond if you wanted to shove responsibility to other people. And so you know she's probably hiding something.
I don't think you're telling the truth.
And it's like, oh, you call me a liar now too? You call me a...
Truther.
Hey, take a damn inspiration for that. Take a D4 inspiration for that.
That was nice. That
Yeah.
was nice. I have to admit. I have to admit.
Inspiration is what if I'm a DM and I like what's happening at the table, I'll give you an inspiration. So essentially, an inspiration is if at anything, if you want to roll and you want to add an inspiration to that roll, you can use the inspiration I give you to improve your roll, and that's the use of inspiration. And you have these until the end of the game.
Nice.
And so yes, I like it. So take a D4 inspiration, sir. All right. So it's like she looks at you guys, insulted again. It's like, okay. So if I ain't no truther and I ain't no professional, what would you do any better? I mean, it's not like y'all know how to fix that damn well.
Well, what kind of well are you talking about?
Oh,
See, you are hiding something.
and she looks to us like, oh, I'm not hiding nothing. I just momentarily forgot.
Colossus!
Can I roll an insight check on that?
You know that she's now a little bit truthful, but she doesn't want to take. It seems like she clearly doesn't want to take responsibility for whatever's been happening around town. She just looks like she wants to profit off it.
Are you sure about that? Like, are you sure you momentarily forgot?
And she's like, "That's what I said, isn't it?"
We come back later, we check our well.
I mean, you can check wherever you want. It's the only well that's inside the town. Just check that.
We come back later. Let me open.
It's like, oh, I'll be open. And she goes back to churning her thing, and you guys, she just watches y'all and is like, now leave. And as y'all walk out, sass away,
As I walk out,
and you slam the door once again.
This ranger. I open the door again.
You open the door again,
And I cast Gust.
and she's like, oh, you little nunchkin. And you just close the door and you're like, leave.
Well, I'll open the door again.
And you open the door again, and it's like, oh, don't you dare. And what do you do?
Okay. I'll just take
as the door open,
Me and Mitra be like,
the door is open, right?
and just close the door slowly.
Just to get any ointment.
Any ointment as it just flies on by. I'd like you to roll an attack roll just for the hell of it.
Yes. That's fine. It's 8.
All right, as you fling it into the fire, into the hearth of the fire, and it just lights up the fire and it stokes up the fire. And she just goes, it's like, well, at least you know how to make the room a little warmer. Now leave. Now
I'll take a
leave.
javelin and gently poke him in the back.
All right, you poke him in the back as you all leave, and once again, the outside, compared to the inside warm hearth of the store, the roots and the remedies, the cool air once again gets you. It's a little bit frosty, and you make your way towards the one and only well in town. It is near the border edge of one of them, and it seems like it's a well. It's the only well in town, and you see some people, pulling up their buckets as they carry the water out. And you see just people carrying off their water for the day. What do?
What color is the water?
It's brackish looking water. Brackish meaning, have you ever seen those caves that have the kind of murky but kind of clear water?
Oh, that one.
Yeah, it's like gray but it's kind of clear. That's brackish water. So it looks like that. So the kind of water you kind of notice if it's underground. It doesn't look like the most cleanest of water, but it doesn't look so bad. And as you see people just carrying it around, you see the people just holding onto it, frail-bodied children with black spots onto their bodies, and you see this little kid just go, and they don't seem to be wearing shoes. You see their feet black, covered with those patches. As this little boy just does, and just drops the water onto the floor. It's just like, oh no. As he slowly lifts the bucket once again, holds it onto its rope and begins pulling it down into the well once again to collect more water.
I laugh.
You laugh, and the boy's like, could you help? A weak little boy trying to ask you for help, covered with those black spots. It's pretty severe on all limbs, on parts of the face. It looks pretty bad. This kid probably doesn't have a lot to live.
I'm gonna say something a bit weird. Make the nature have good peace in next.
And the boy just looks at you and is like, it doesn't look like you're gonna help. okay, and
I'll
just like
I'll step in and just be like, you know what, kid, let me do it for you.
right.
I'll
So
just do it.
the monk, with his niceness, decides, okay, this is a sad little kid. Let me help out. And as the kid just goes like, thank you, as he just like flops down, exhausted. You know, like the muddy area around him is cold, it's damp, it's muddy, but the kid doesn't care. He just flops around.
Is he okay?
He doesn't look okay, no.
Alright, I'm going to it. Wait, hold on. Where's my face covered?
So, are you diving into the well?
No, medicine check on the kid.
A medicine check on the kid. All right, go ahead and roll a medicine check. And because you were helping out pull up the well, as you finish pulling up the bucket and you lift up the bucket with some water, the water there is clear for you to see, and it starts smelling a little weird to you.
Chef, can you check this?
As you pass the water over to our goblin connoisseur, Chef, I would like you to make a nature check, or a survival check, or a medicine check. It's up to you.
I roll 18.
You rolled an 18 for a medicine check.
Yes.
All right, hold on.
So chef, what's the deal?
Not good water. It's 19. Minus 1.
On a what check?
Medicine?
Medicine check. All right.
No. Survival.
Survival check. All right. Okay. So Don, as you look at the kid, he's not looking that great. He's a young kid, very young. You know, like maybe not even 12. And he looks even more, you know, like the patches seem to be causing some kind of malnourishment. He seems to be really, really dehydrated, and the black patches are pretty severe. His breathing is bad. There's a very, you can hear the sound of his lungs kind of almost as if he's not breathing in fully, and like there's some moisture like just caught up in his lungs. He doesn't look like he's doing well. He looks like he's about to keel over any day now.
Daddy, whatever my first one. Let him die. Let him die.
And as you check the water, it doesn't smell right. It doesn't smell right at all. It smells like if somebody chucked in like a dead rat that was diseased already, and it's causing it to spread around. It looks like the water itself is the color of brackish water, not unusual, but the smell is getting you. And this smells like disease from a carcass or something. You know the smell. You know when you cook, and you cook dead bodies, they can't be diseased. And this smells like the kind of thing you'd get if you chuck a diseased body into some water.
Not good. Like making stew from dead body with bad juju. Bad juju. What the bad juju? What the bad juju? Everybody stop drinking water! Stop drinking the water! Bad juju water!
And as you scream out to the rest of the crowd, people are like, they just ignore you. It is very few places that you can get water other than at the river. But even the river water and this artisan, the water here, is roughly about the same. And nobody notices the difference other than the slight smell. So people are still drinking. And the people who you see with the black patches and stuff, they're getting dehydrated and they want more water. So they continue to drink more and more water here.
Can I look into the well?
You look into the well and it's pretty dark inside.
I'll take out my tinderbox and light up.
All right, you light up a torch.
I hope it doesn't explode down there.
And what do? It's a deep well, like a 30-foot deep well.
Are you sure? I'm scared that it might explode or something.
Throw him!
Throw it?
I look into waiting for him to throw.
All right.
Are you sure about it?
Throw!
You throw. Yeah. Don, help
Take
me.
and throw.
Without hesitation, the goblin chef just grabs it and just chucks it down. And as you all look down into the well, and you see the torch just go at the sides of the well, eventually it hits the bottom, and instead of extinguishing completely, you see something down there. Something that looks like it's floating down there.
Something's definitely down there.
What?
Fire should be caught by water! Why the fire still up?
The fire is still floating on top of whatever's there at the bottom of the well. And so as you see it, I would like you all to make a perception check, since you're all technically looking down the well.
Wait, perception?
What's that's dexterity?
15.
15.
21.
21. 6.
Oh shit, I don't have it.
Minus 1, so that's 1, so 3.
Okay.
So basically, see nothing. 21.
21, 3, 6, and
15.
15. All right. So, between the two of you, a ranger's far sight, you can see the torch hit the bottom there, and it looks like there's some piece of floating black something down there. And this, you see the same thing. Something seems to be floating there. It looks maybe humanoid looking, but you can't really tell. You don't see limbs. You just see like a big chunk of torso. For the two of you,
Is it possible to lift it up?
from your side, you have dark vision. So looking down a dark well with a torch kind of blinds you a little bit. So you're just like, there's something. And in your case, you're holding on to the bucket as you're seeing the kid there, and as he's distracting you from, and you just go. Yep. And so as the dying kid there distracts you for a moment, you guys see that there is certainly something at the bottom of that well.
I don't see anything. What do I see? Grab a rope.
I would like you to make roll for an attack. Yeah, just simply enough. Roll for an attack.
Alright, that's 10.
That's a 10. So as you and it hits down onto whatever it is at the bottom of that well, you're like, okay, you got it. But then as you pull, the soaked, soft body of whatever's down there, just it releases your arrow as it doesn't give. Whatever is down there, it's been there for a while and it's soaked up enough water that the piercing just slides out. The arrow just slides out.
For me, I'll take the rope and I'll take one of my javelins
Okay.
and tie it onto the rope and I just throw it out there.
Okay, roll for an attack.
For using a
D20 and then add your attack modifier.
A javelin is strength plus proficient.
Yeah, your attack, your javelin's here. Your attack modifier is attack bonus here.
21.
31. And so again, the javelin hits through, and as the larger javelin goes all the way through the soft body, it just kind of hooks its way like floating body. The javelin just goes, and then it evens out and you feel it hook on properly. However, you can feel that this body just swaying in the water is pretty soft, so it'll take some effort to bring it out carefully. And so, do you all assist him with this?
I help.
You don't want to touch anything, right?
Me want to help. Papa want this Ranger Genesis. Me want to help. So scrawny.
All right, whoever is helping, I would like you to make a survival check to remove the thing out of the well as carefully as you can.
So whatever you roll, plus 2. Oh my goodness!
Oh, I got a 22!
I
We
want one of
both
those.
rolled natural 20s.
You bitches.
Total 19.
You.
I got a 22!
No, that's a natural 20. Just say natural 20.
I got a natural 20.
You're seeing what's happening here, right?
That's my first natural
People are
20.
just gonna conspire against you.
Right,
One more, one more.
I.
I need to double check.
That's fine.
Why is it only at my table?
Yeah, that's fine. That's
It
Everyone's.
doesn't happen when I'm against another DM.
Why is this? I feel like everyone's like. Fine. Fine.
It's there.
Fine. We
They
can.
they approve.
We can roll with this. Anyway, so you all very carefully remove the thing out of the water.
So very
So
nice.
very nice for you.
I'm surprised that the
And you
that body
remove it.
isn't falling off.
You remove it carefully enough that it doesn't break apart and release all of its disease insides into the water. Fine. As you all pull the body out and you just see it come out, you see this matted wet fur, black fur of something inside. As it gets pulled out, and you see what looks to be the remnants of the body of what looks to be a wolf. Like a wolf with like matted fur, very large for its size, that somehow made its way in here.
Wait, it's a beast, right?
A what?
It's a beast, right?
It's a beast, yes.
I'm gonna check the beast. What kind is it?
Because you're an expert at this, it looks like a sort of warg. A warg is a very specific kind of wolf-like creature. They're very popular amongst kobolds and goblins, but essentially think of them as more intelligent, larger wolves with bigger humpbacks. They tend to have a strong pack mentality, and it's unusual that you'd find one so far away from its pack.
Wonder how it does.
Too weird. This should not be here.
And what's more damning to you is that you can definitely tell that this thing is also diseased. However, it looks like it acts on much more slower on this large beast than it would on humans.
Something's wrong. The what? We must go to the forest. We must go to the forest. Something's wrong with this place.
Wait. Should we tell the woman who was suspicious about it?
I don't think she
I
needs
don't
to know
care
yet.
about that woman. She's a crazy
Wait.
con artist. Tell her.
Wait.
Then you heard a lot of
Wait. Maybe we should hide this body to maybe not let the villagers be alarmed.
We should find it.
Great bonfire.
I mean,
No bonfire.
I mean, if we can burn it, at least.
Bonfire.
If we can burn it, at least there won't be
disease.
anything, right?
No disease.
Disease.
It has disease. Fire.
Fire will make it.
Fire, not the disease.
As,
No fire.
as Chef here, wholeheartedly, single-mindedly, covering his face with his like little clothes, he opens up his cookbook and goes to the page on how to flambe,
No. Rotisserie.
how to rotisserie. And so the javelin's already there. So the javelin's already there. And so as he props it up against the side of the well, holding it up like that, he suddenly casts a bonfire. Was it bonfire? He casts bonfire, and on the ground, the muddy ground, suddenly an arcane fire lights up next to the well. And as the little boy to the side
This goblin.
just goes like, and you can see him like feel like he's enjoying the warmth, which is sad. The body of this wolf continues
the
to
first still there, right?
crackle. What?
The first still there, right?
The fur's still there, yeah.
Anan. I unfriend.
While it's on fire?
Take it out and put it back in.
Are you sure you want to do this?
It's best for you to not do it. You know that thing is diseased.
Fine.
So, as you try to pull off some non-burning parts of the fur, you feel like there was some maggots and stuff, and something really nasty underneath that fur and inside that fur. And you're not sure what was the transmission of the disease, but you suddenly have a horrible feeling and let the fire burn as it continues to dry off the fur, and a horrible smell of burned fur comes up, and eventually the wolf starts burning up. At this point, you hear the sound of, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" And as you see another elderly lady, another elderly lady with more whiter skin. It looks like she's got some weathered skin from being out in the cold a lot, but you recognize that she's wearing what looks to be priest-like clothes. And as she heads over to you, just like as she says, it's like, "I'm sorry, what are you doing to our well? And what is that?"
That was something inside the well.
As she just confusedly looks at you, and she sees that you are the one just going, just fanning the flames of the rotisserie. She goes,
Maybe I'll just go step in and explain to the situation.
and
I'll explain the situation to
for
her.
the sake of brevity, you explain the situation, and you tell her about the disease thing inside, and she looks at you and says, it's like, "Oh my, that certainly would explain all of the disease." I know you're from out of town, and I can't ask much of you, but as a priestess of Iomeda, the goddess of justice, I beseech your help. Could you please help me heal the people of this town? They don't know any better. They believe in remedies and salves, but they don't know what's really making them ill. Could you please help me?
The question is how.
Sure.
And she looks at you and says, "Luckily, because you were able to remove the body from the well so cleanly, I have just enough magic to purify the well itself, and that's a start. However, the disease has already taken root in some of the people of our town, and unfortunately, I've seen so many people die day by day. So far, there's been about 10 confirmed dead, but I expect so many more.
Such waste of good meat.
I said fuck.
And she just looks at you and is like, I'm not
Good
gonna-"
people,
And
good people, good people.
He's just a misunderstood person.
Stab, I'll take another javelin and stab him a little bit.
So as they're like, and she's like, oh, of course. Unfortunately, I'm not very well versed in this, but the goddess has given me an oracle that tells me that our friend Laurel in town would know. Unfortunately, she hasn't been very helpful to me. I'm sure if you could convince her to help you.
Oh, that thick woman.
The ebony chick.
I know she can be quite difficult, but at this rate, you know, all of us will die.
I think she has something to do with this instead.
Don't make assumptions.
got
Don't
an
make
idea.
assumptions, Peter.
I got an idea.
That's the witch conductor.
And as you head off, as you're making your way back towards Laurel, and as the wolf has finished burning completely, clearing it of disease. Yes, it does clear it of disease. As you guys head off, the cleric here just tells you, it's like, she's not evil, she's just a rough person. As you head off to
On our ass.
and once you head back to the place, the line looks like it's moved, and some people are coming in and coming out with some of those salves and some ointments and stuff like that. And you hear the sound, next! And as you all just bust, you just busted, and she looks towards you and is like, oh, it's y'all again. What do y'all want now?
We find wolf.
And she looks at you and is like, I'm sorry, you found what?
We found a diseased wolf inside the well.
Well, we're nearby a forest. There's bound to be wolves, and those wolves are bound to be sick.
Any wolf. A warg.
And she looks towards you as like, and the first part, she's now taking things a little bit more serious, and she's like, a warg?
Yep, a war.
A big hump warg? And what the hell do you know about wargs?
He's a master of beasts
He's
and
a
a
ranger.
master of fire.
I'm like,
I know my. Really? You want to ask me a dumb question to me?
As she incites you, and oh yeah, she believes you. If y'all wondering what the hell I rolled in that one. You can look at it, confirm.
Okay.
See what I mean by I roll shit? I roll shit, but my player zero fine. God damn. All right. So as she looks towards you, as she's like, okay, maybe you know a little bit more than I do. But where did this war come from?
one thing, it's come from that well.
The well.
It's all in well.
And that's what is causing all this sickness?
Part of it.
Yes. Yes.
Part of, not most of these people, but part of it, of all the river.
And as she looks towards you, it's like, and she just kind of like seriously looks at you. She puts down all of her salves and things, and then she goes to the back for a bit and grabs what looks to be an old tome. As she just pops it onto the table, and she just goes, "Well, okay, maybe some things slip my mind a little bit more than others, and so." Maybe I may have forgotten that maybe I've seen these symptoms somewhere before.
That's a lot, maybe.
That's a lot of maybes, but it's a maybe. Now, unfortunately, I am unable to get all these ingredients. But fortunately, y'all dumb motherfuckers are here. Oh shit, we're on stream. Y'all dumb people are here. What? I can swear? Well, fuck.
It's all out there. Let's
Alright,
go.
It's all out there. So as she just goes,
No PG here, no PG.
well, it's like, well, luckily it looks like all the four of y'all know how to handle yourselves a little bit. And so maybe we can help one another. I mean,
What's the recipe?
well, I have, y'all wouldn't understand this. I have most of what I need, but there's a couple of things on my book that I unfortunately don't have.
Okay, I'm gonna sit down. What do you need?
Okay, well, first of all, I need myself some elder tree or elderwood moss.
Elderwood. What?
Elderwood moss.
Oh, okay. Mas. Yeah. Again?
And I'm gonna need myself a pickled root. A pickled root known as a rat's tail.
Oh, it's called the rat's tail?
It's called a rat's tail, but don't you dare think it's an actual rat's tail. Don't you be dumb. It's a root that is pickled. And lastly, I'm gonna need myself some iron blood mushrooms.
Where can we get pickled?
Well, that's the difficult thing. All these things are things that you're gonna need to go into the forest for, and unfortunately, I'm not skilled in any of that.
Roots in forest.
Well, I'm not sure if y'all know, but there's a witch that lives there in that forest, and she taught my grandmama how to do all this.
Oh, witch.
And so, if anyone's gonna know where the pickled roots are, that's gotta be her.
Are you sure you don't know how to pickle rat tail?
God dang it, it's not literally a rat freaking tail.
I know what it is. I know what it
It's
is.
a goddamn root.
Yes.
It's a root.
I'm just wondering if you can.
I
Well,
don't think it's doable.
well, I don't know how to pickle it myself, but I'm sure the witch does. But that's probably the only ingredient you can get from her. The iron blood mushrooms, they come from a place that's dark and damp, but it's surrounded by iron. And unfortunately, there's only one place I know that has some of them. You're gonna have to head to the monastery where those damn dwarves live. There's plenty of forages there. I'm sure there's gotta be 1 or 2 mushrooms over there. And the elderwood moss, now that's a little bit easier in a certain sense. That elderwood moss grows on the only elderwood tree that lives in our entire forest. It's somewhere near the lake, somewhere in some open clearing. Can't miss it. It's the tallest tree up there.
I go there first. Yep, go there. Let's go to the fox.
So you all help me with this? You can all help me with
Why
this?
not?
Yep, let's go.
Before
Meat
he runs to
good.
the door, I open the door with him, and then I slam the door in front of him.
So they open the door and,
Reversal.
and they slam it into your face, and as the
I
lady...
open the door. Do I see him?
Nope, they're away.
Run.
I take off my maul.
and you begin chasing after them with the bow.
And do that to me.
As the three of them leave the store, and she looks like, oh dear God. And she looks at the goblin over here. Your friends are dumb. Are you sure you're up to the task?
I got some book from you.
As you flip over the book, and you flip over to the author's notes where it says, every good dish deserves a good adventure to find its ingredients.
I quote.
And as she looks like, are you reading from a cookbook?
Very good book.
And she
It's
looks,
life.
as she looks at you and she's like, well, I'm not one not to follow a book. So y'all good luck now, and if you don't return, everyone's dead. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
And as you all leave and head on over, you, for the sake of brevity, you ask that old lady again. You ask that old lady where this stuff is, and she gives you a general direction, but it's very vague. You find that like sickly young kid once again, as you bring, as he's still struggling with like a pail of water, and as you ask him for help, he just goes, it's like, grand uncle works at the forest. You can head there. He knows everything.
Okay,
And he coughs into the bucket.
Before I go, I give him a blanket that I have.
And he looks towards you, he's like, thank you. And continues to.
I just got the
That kid is dead in like a day or something. So
I'll just let him have this last bit of warmth.
Right, so by this point, it's the afternoon, and you find yourselves a caravan who's heading towards the lumber site near the edge of the Dark Moon Forest. So, like at the edge of the Dark Moon Forest are some lumber sites. As you head towards the direction that the uncle of that nephew is working at. And on your way there, you know, you're on the wagon. You see some other people there. The coachman is just lightly
as you all freak out for a moment, and he just looks like, no, it's just cold. It's just cold. I'm not sick.
Would you like fire?
And he's like, no fire while the horse is moving.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. And the coach is like, oh god damn. As you all move towards the caravan, towards the wagon, and unfortunately, the ride is a whiles away. The distance from where you need to go and the places where these ingredients are quite far away. The furthest being maybe about 3 days away. And so every day that passes, more people die. So very much time is of the essence. That night, you guys camp out at an open field as you aren't able to make it towards the lumber yard that day. During that night, you set up camp, and you set up your camp, you set up your bedrolls. It's a little bit cold, you put up a fire, and you're out in the grassy plains. And this will be considered a long rest. Do you guys do anything? Do you keep watch? Do you...
Before that, I'm gonna hunt some rabbit.
You're gonna hunt some rabbits, alright?
I'll keep watch.
I'll create the bonfire.
Create a bonfire.
Yes.
I'll follow me.
You follow me? And what are you guys doing?
I'm keeping watch.
Keeping watch. Alright, so you both keep watch and you hunt for rabbits.
I'll prepare the pots and pans for dinner.
Alright,
He's
so...
the cooker.
Alright, a ranger looking for food. I would like you to make a survival check with advantage.
Yay! A 19.
Nice.
That's 22. Perfect. It's one on that one.
Roll a d4. Roll 2 d4s.
I didn't roll that. It's dropped that.
How many D4s do you have?
5.
5. Alright, so it doesn't take you too bad. It's nighttime, it's in the burrows, and you know those rabbits are gonna be in their little burrows. Now normally, finding a burrow in the dark would be very, very hard. But you know how to find them. You know how to track them. And so eventually you find those burrows, you just fire off some arrows inside, get them to freak out, and as they run out, you just snipe them down. And you get yourself a good amount of rabbits. As you bring those rabbits back to town, and Chef here is getting ready to roast them up, I would like you to make a survival check
Here's a rabbit.
to cook those rabbits, and this has a purpose.
19?
He's
18 minus
He's
1.
mad. He's
All right,
mad.
so what was yours? 5, right?
Yeah.
Roll a d4. 2. He cooks it, and it's a very good meal. It's a very decent meal for out in the open and in the middle of nowhere. And as you're resting, keeping watch, nothing happens, luckily. And as you go to sleep, you just wait for the cool to rise and wait for the sun to come up so that you can make your way to the lumberyard. Everybody gets 7 temporary hit points for food and for cooking.
How much?
So on your temporary hit points, put down 7. So if you get damaged first, the temporary hit points go first.
I've used it before.
Yes. However, if you use a potion, you don't gain those temporary hit points back. So yes. So
Can I borrow your eraser?
What?
Eraser.
all right.
How many
So
D4s do you have?
so, anyways,
Yeah.
when the morning rises and you guys are well rested thanks to the good meal, you have some leftovers of the meal from the night before, still good, as you store them as rations. And after your breakfast, you continue heading off with the caravan back to the lumberyard. At this point, it doesn't take you longer than maybe 6 hours to finally reach the edge of the Dark Moon Vale. And as you see this forest, this tall, dark forest, it is very, contrasting when it's out in the open in the pure daylight, and yet the forest is dark and it's very hard to see through it. So, you make your way towards the forest on the path, and eventually inside the forest is a clearing where you see and hear the sounds of a lumber yard. There's sounds of sawing, there's sounds of machines burring, there's sounds of trees just being felled in the distance. And as you make your way there, you eventually see what looks to be an older looking man who's got what looks to be one patch of black on his hand. As he looks towards you with an axe, this burly looking old man just goes, "Can I help you?"
I try to ignore his hand.
We're here to look for some elder wood.
Yes, elder.
As he looks towards you and says, we don't have Elderwood Moss, and that's a little bit of a whiles away. Why are you looking for Elderwood Moss?
I just like I take out an ingredient.
Laurel sent us here.
Yeah. I'm looking for elderwood mass, pickle root, and iron blood mushroom.
And he looks towards you and he just goes, well, I don't know what a rat tail pickle root is, and I don't know what an iron blood mushroom is, but the elderwood moss just grows on the one tree. But why, again, are you looking for these weird things?
Laurel sent us here.
What?
Laurel sent us here.
As you say, Laurel sent us here, and you asked what? A witch? As, okay, I'll respond with that first. As she says, like, Laurel, the herbalist?
Yes, indeed.
I'm not sure if you're aware, but nothing she makes ever really works.
That's what we have gathered.
And you mentioned the witch, and it's like, oh, Ulisma the witch? Nobody's really seen her in a while, and we tend to avoid her.
Where she live?
Oh my god, you're...
She lives in a hut a little bit whiles away. Again, I don't understand. What is this for?
This is
Big Bolfer. Fallen well.
And he's an old man, but then he's like,
And now, because that bad things.
eh,
Meat is bad.
as he looks towards you and he just goes, a warg? Not a wolf,
Yeah,
A walk.
Big Bolfer.
but a
Yeah.
big wolf.
Yeah.
Big Bolfer.
It's not a big one, it's a walk. A walk.
And it was sick in the well. And the and you're saying that this thing is causing some disease?
Yeah, make meat bad.
Yeah, it's the one on your hand there, the black.
And as you look at his hand, the black spot kind of hides it, but as he shows you, I got bitten by a wolf, by a really big wolf, a warg the other day, and it's starting to cause this.
Yeah, same. You're meat bad.
The village is covered with this black spots.
And as he looks like the village,
Yes.
Village meat bad. You're meat bad now.
and what are you saying?
Everybody there is...
as I go to that guy and we still fighting, I hold on to his shoulders. Is that if you don't tell me where this stuff is, all of you are gonna die.
I would like you to make a persuasion check.
Isn't it intimidation?
Nah, he's like
Intimidation is like, tell me or else you die type deal.
I need one perception.
It's a persuasion.
This plus 2.
How are we doing on time?
Oh god.
9.
No.
9.
No, this doesn't count. It's like this. So we roll this. This doesn't count.
Yeah, that's cocked. Unless it rolls up, it has to roll in the tray. That's cocked too.
That's a 1.
As he looks towards you, and he's just like, it's like, and you're shaking him. As
Kid's
you,
dying.
okay. As he just goes like, well, we're not really afraid of death here. It's an eventuality. And then as you say, and the kid's gonna die, as she's like, what kid?
Your nephew is gonna die. We saw him by the well. He was frail and he was sickly. I had to give him a blanket to keep him warm.
And he looks at you. It's like, and how do you know he was my nephew?
He told us.
You look like same.
Same face.
And he at this point he's just like, and you, I mean, I have one patch, a spot here,
He has whole body covered in it.
and I'm like,
And
but
he looks
how?
like he's gonna die anytime soon.
At this point he's just like, okay, okay, all right. I hear what you're saying. In a day,
In a day or two.
in a day or two,
Yep. Moro will die if you don't help.
but. I mean, the tree is about half a day's away from here if you in the straightest line, but are you sure you can do this?
We can try. It's a good quest. You know what? Yes, we can.
Roll for deception. Hot.
Oh, it's not God. It's not God.
It's a 1? Alright.
Hold on.
Alright.
Chris 10.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh, your deception is a +9?
No. 6.
Oh, plus 6. Ooh, damn. All right. Oh, your result was a?
6.
A 6 plus 4.
Plus 4.
All right. Okay. So as he looks towards you, and as you tell him, "Oh, we can do this," and then a little bit of a drool comes out from the side of your mouth, as he just goes, "Are you
We definitely
are you
can.
hungry?"
We definitely can do this.
And as he's just like distractedly moves away from you, and it's like, well, okay.
Why am I traveling with these ragtags?
Okay, all right. I'll help you the best I can. And as he like pulls out a piece of paper and he makes a kind of makeshift map of the Dark Moon Vale. He then shows you, it's like, okay, about half a day's away is the Elderwood tree. You can't miss it. It's an incredibly tall tree and then a huge opening. But you have to be careful. Some bigger creatures tend to use it as a little bit of their home.
You have the tools for taking the mask.
What?
The tools to take out the mask.
The what?
The tool for taking off the mask of the tree.
Taking off the mask?
mask.
He tells you, it's like, oh, you could scrape it off with a dagger.
How about, okay, which hut?
The witch's hut, we're not entirely sure, but it's roughly about the same distance away in a deeper hidden part of the forest, and he marks it kind of roughly. It's around here, but honestly, we haven't seen that witch in years. We're not even sure she's still there.
We don't have time. We don't have time to go to.
And he looks towards you. The monastery is the furthest thing out. It's about another half day or a day's away from the tree.
We don't have time to go all three.
Okay.
Let's go. Come on.
I've got some peoples, yes.
Okay. Can you send me to the monastery?
Well, I don't think anyone's gonna be willing to do that. We're not really that kind of people.
Can we threaten them with the death of their loved ones?
Okay, you know what?
All right.
Here's this.
You can certainly try.
We try.
All right.
I'll try this.
I want you to all roll an intimidation check.
Yes.
Oh my god, this is bad.
What?
21.
What was it?
21.
Total 22.
17.
22, 17,
21.
11.
21.
Little gnome, very intimidating.
You want me to pull you? Like,
My table are all
I am an
monsters.
ex-soldier.
So as
This is not my first time doing this.
So as the people at this point, the other lumberers, you start getting attention as you shout out, "But you're all gonna die!" And they all come out, and it's like, I'm sorry, what the hell was that? As they all come out, it's like, oh, the damn witch has started spreading all her plague towards all you sad sacks. Not just you, but your families, your livelihoods are all gonna die. The goblin here, you open up your muff and you go, nah! And they're like, oh God, is that what it's gonna do to us?
It's happened to me.
Look at this non-binary goblin image. This will happen to you if you don't help us.
I grab some charcoal
You grab some charcoal
and I cover myself.
and you
with
cover
my
yourself up.
spots.
And it's like,
It's happening now.
and they're all like, oh dear God. Thank goodness they're dumb. All right, and as the noble here says, but it's all right, gentlemen. We have a plan. We can help you all, and we can save everyone. And as the soldier comes up and says, exactly, we're gonna need some rangers. I'm sure you all have some rangers. We're gonna need at least 6. We're gonna need you to head over to the mosque and grab some of that. It's like, as we head off to the rest of the area, we can make it in time before a lot of you all die. And all of them just completely believing this stupid farce. Some of them stop working. Some of them start taking up some rangers. They each grab some of their maps, and they start heading up into the forest.
okay.
And as I walk to Chef, and then be like, I can't give it.
I send up the soul.
I can't believe it worked.
It must be your role.
Alright, I'm gonna be like, that's okay. If you go to monastery and get the freaking.
All right, so now you guys know where to go. The tree is already being handled. Where do you go next?
Monastery?
No monastery.
The monastery is the one the furthest away. So
Furthest away.
the furthest away. But
There first.
if, yeah, so if you go to the monastery like through the long way, then it will take about 3 days. If you go through the forest, you'll cut into the area where Ulisma's hut would be, and you'll make it toward there.
Let's go the short way.
Okay, forest, everybody to the forest.
Forest way,
Yep,
because you're a goddamn ranger.
yep, let's go.
I would like you to make a survival check
It's a forest.
with advantage.
Okay, follow this.
That's why I asked, if you're gonna be a ranger. FYI, there's so much shit in this woods. If you don't have a ranger, you're gonna be fucked. Okay?
His face looks so enthusiastic. You're gonna be fucked. Okay.
Anyways. So, as the ranger leading the way, and the sounds of the other rangers going off in a separate direction as they go it's like, hurry before we die! And as you guys head off towards the direction of Ulisma the witch's hut, it's a little bit of a walk. It was midday when you left the lumberyard site, and as you go into the forest, in the unbeaten path, nothing there, everything goes dark. The canopy is blocking out the light, and just the general feeling of the dark wood just kind of makes this area feel like it's just pure night.
Tinderbox.
As you tinderbox, open a torch, and you follow your way. You make your way through the forest, and you can definitely tell if this was just you alone, you would get lost. And as you're looking around and you hear the sounds of heavy beating wings, the sounds of howling into the distance,
Ranger.
Can I suggest what kind of beast is that?
it sounds like a wolf, but a very, very big wolf.
Can we get nature check on that one?
What?
Can I make a nature check on that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a beast anyway.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll for nature.
Yep. It's advantage, right? 18.
All right. The sound of the wolf in the distance, you hear it's a deeper sound, a very big wolf. However, there's no response to the howl. Very unusual. When they do that, it means they're warning their pack about things oncoming. So when there's no response howls, it means it's like a warning bell to the other wolves around the area. However, the sound of the wolf that you heard is far away, almost in the direction of the elder tree. So yeah, those rangers that you told to go to the elder tree, yeah, they're gonna be fighting wolves. They're gonna be fighting big wolves.
Okay. It's gonna be
What
problem.
does the scroll pedigree do?
So, what are we doing to help the Rangers?
Oh, it's just a scroll, a certificate that proves that you are a noble.
Yeah, I just who's gonna help the Rangers?
Are you?
No, I'm like asking who's gonna help the Rangers?
For the sake of brevity, you've already done it. So, they've already gone on their thing. You don't need to care. That's the side quest that's already settled.
That's true.
So you can continue on. Just know that there's wolves where those guys are.
Okay.
So you've condemned those guys who wanted to avoid death with death.
But we saved them.
Save.
Saved them.
We saved their family.
Yes.
For the
For the greater good.
Okay. We're gonna run. Come on, follow me.
All right. So as you move on by and you avoid the obvious tracks of wolves and something else, other things in the forest, there is huge traces of something slithering. There's sounds of sometimes in those woods, and you are nimbly avoiding them.
Come on.
See what I mean by I planned all this stuff to kill you, but then
I whisper to him, thank God we have this wacko ring.
he's weird, but he's useful.
He can't die yet.
Hey, stop! Come on, hurry up, let's go!
All right. So as you eventually make your way and you avoid encounters with the things that live in this forest, you eventually make your way to a clearing, a little groved area on top of a little hill, and you see a hut with a thatched roof surrounded by what looks like a bunch of scarecrows around it, but it clearly looks like this place hasn't had anyone living in it. There's no chimney fire, there's no nothing. A bit of the thatched roof is like collapsed. It's a very small hut, like a single room hut. And as you get closer and closer across this clearing, You see the scarecrows. You see some what look to be giant, very sheen-looking crows just on top of the scarecrows as they all just float around and around. And as you make your way closer and closer towards the hut, you feel like, yeah, there's no one inside there.
Investigate the hut.
You investigate the hut. Do you all join him?
I got it.
All right. So as you just open your door into the hut, it is a single round hut with what looks to be the most obvious thing is a giant cauldron in the middle. There's a huge cauldron in the middle and a bunch of like potion bottles, little glass vials just strewn around it in drawers and stuff. What are you guys investigating?
I think I'll investigate the cauldron.
Cauldron?
But before that,
Cauldron?
I'll
look at the
jump
vials.
Vials?
See if there's like a pickled root or something.
All right.
I'm gonna investigate surrounding area just to see since we assume there's no one there. If there's someone before us have been there,
Oh, you mean on the outside?
I'm gonna be outside.
All right. Okay. And our monk?
I'll just be like, hello?
You call out hello and there's no response. Would you like to call out again?
No!
And as you call out once again, hello, you hear a very familiar sound from inside the shack. Hello, in the exact voice that you just said. And as you just stutter for a moment, as the rest are looking, you see hung on one of the dwarves is a little necklace thing with like a shrunken head. It does look interesting. I would like you to roll an investigation check, you to roll an investigation check, I'd like you to roll a perception check, and I'd like you to roll an arcana check.
You got your wish.
Arcana is
Did I?
You got your wish. It's a nat 1.
Oh, thank gosh.
Ah, damn it, I got an 8.
Oh,
This is where everything falls apart.
Yeah,
I got an 8.
yeah. Perception, right? 9. I got a 9.
8.
Investigation.
What do you
13.
get? What do you get?
13.
Yeah, you got your wishes.
Technically, I got 3.
Oh my god.
Oh no, we're gonna die.
So,
Not yet.
as you guys roam through the inside of this hut, and you look at the little thing, and you just look at it and like, hello, hello, and it just repeats back the same thing you said, and you're like, hello, and you just grab it and you just keep it around, and you don't know what use it has, and you don't really know what it is, but all you know is it just keeps repeating you. And so you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. And at this point, you're a little bit distracted by the little shrunken head thing. When you're looking through the vials, you look through them and you realize, like, dusty. I don't know what this looks like. I don't know what any of this looks like.
Realize.
You just realize I don't know what I'm looking for. What was yours?
10 and 9.
From the outside, everything looks dead, and those crows seem like they're kind of looking at you, but I don't know, maybe it's just you being paranoid, but they seem to be looking at you. And lastly, 13? Alright, so as you
That's
look...
the lowest you've rolled.
Yeah,
That's actually no. I rolled a 1.
yeah.
I rolled a 1 like on one of my checks. No, you don't know shit.
So as you look, as you feel up the cauldron, it's cold and it's thick. It's like a brass cauldron, maybe copper cauldron, like a little bit strewn in, and it looks like it's got this weird like face on it, like the face of an old man. And you look at below it, and it looks like there used to be a fire under it. But it looks like there used to be a fire under it, but there's no wood, there's no nothing. There's just a lot of soot. So you're wondering where the fire actually came from. And as you just look at the rim of its mouth and you look inside, it's big and hollow, and then suddenly, the cauldron just shifts, and then I would like you to make a dexterity saving throw. Dexterity saving throw. So it's different from an ability check. So saving throws would be
What do you roll?
What?
It's too late. You can't see anything. Yep.
You got a 20?
I can roll again if you want.
Okay.
That's not fair.
I really can roll again
But
if
for
you
your
want.
sanity, let's just roll one more time.
Fine. No. You rolled the first one. It's fair. Fine. So, as the cauldron suddenly, you hear it move, and your body just slides on in, and you see the mouth. Suddenly, at the mouth of it, the metal starts unfolding into what look to be teeth,
and as it just slowly just starts closing up as it's about to swallow you, you're like, oh shit, and you just like jump up, grab the teeth, and you jump out just fast enough as the teeth ching just close up behind you. As suddenly under it, a flame starts lighting up on the cauldron.
That would definitely be.
Time to kill some suckers.
He got a 4. He got a 4. 4.
No. Anyways, this was a trap for me, wasn't it? All right. So anyways, I would like you all to roll for initiative.
Hey, fighting!
Oh, what the hell?
1,
3.
13.
Let's
11.
see. That's a 3. Sorry, that's a 3
That's
for
one of my
me,
bad rolls.
Mitra, and that is an 11.
No.
I'm 11.
Oh,
Don
11.
11.
Wait, I have negative
11
1
for Don.
initiative, so 2.
Oh, okay, 2. Okay, so
Initiative?
Plus your dex.
You plus this one.
I got a 4.
So 16.
16, I got 16.
a 4 for Chef,
Oh, I go
and a
first.
16 for
I go first.
No, you have to wait until his roll. His
Alright,
roll
okay.
4.
That 4 was your.
My initiative.
right?
Oh, I go first.
No, you gotta roll. You gotta
Yeah,
roll.
just roll.
It's a 1. It's a -3 modifier for initiative. It's a damn cauldron, it's not that fast. The damn cauldron is not that fast. God damn it.
Oh my god, this dice is amazing.
Only for you, not for us.
Alright,
Nice.
so, you know what? For the sake of it, because this dumbass is, hasn't been helping me out very much. Alright, so, put your whatever D1s you want to put in there.
What about me? What?
Just use that as your minis.
Use the
Put
combo
percentile.
ones.
I got here.
You see the yellow one? Yep.
No, you're outside, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So you're pretty far away.
Alright, yep. So, I don't care what the inside or the outside is. It's okay, don't worry about
This
it.
is it.
Huh? I already have one.
Yep, alright. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, this is your first encounter. You're fighting a cauldron.
Of all things.
Of all
We could have fought the warg.
You could have fought a warg, you
Okay,
could have
okay.
fought anything else, but you're fighting a cauldron.
From the list he's saying, so we could fight a snake people or a
Yep.
purely huge snake,
Yep,
a giant bee,
yep,
a warg.
yep,
Oh, those 3 dangerous.
We fight a cauldron.
yep, you're fighting
Which
a
is the
cauldron.
safest
Hey man,
one of
this
all.
cauldron is pretty bulky, you don't know. Anyways, so as this giant cauldron in the center
course.
starts lighting up on fire, and you see the mouth just go ching, 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 getting ready to eat a sucker. Chew. You react first as you're just like, la, 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 and suddenly you hear a ah, and you're like, what the? And the little shrunken head goes, what the? What do you do first, man? Which one are you, blue?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. What do you do first, sir?
So, okay. So I pick up my quarterstaff and stay there and be on stance. Ready to fight this.
You take your bow staff as you take a stance, and what do you do?
So I'm gonna smack it for a bit and see what happens.
All right, so you move once closer to it, and then you go to attack it,
Why are
right?
you so
Yeah.
far away?
Yeah, you
Oh,
go
you're
to
outside.
attack. Go ahead and roll to attack. So with your bow staff, yeah. So roll a d20 and then +5 to see whether you hit it or not.
10.
A 10 will hit, yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's a cauldron.
Yep, it's a cauldron. It's not moving anywhere.
D&D.
All right, and go ahead and roll to attack. So that will be your attack, a d8 +3.
D8.
So roll a d8.
It's a diamond shape.
The diamond one.
D8, and then you get 3.
10.
10. So as you and you hit the side of it, the thick brass on its body just goes and you can feel it vibrate. And instead of 10, 5 damage. It is resistant to physical attacks.
Ah, shit.
So it takes 5 points of damage.
Ah, shit.
Cauldron is a smash?
So as you ting and you, but you hit it enough that you can see cracks. Maybe it's because it's old. Maybe it's because it hasn't been tended to. It looks a little bit more not as durable. All right. So the next person in line, Dawn. This cauldron is up and running.
I pick up my ball. You're next.
As you rush towards the.
4, 5. Yep.
All right. Yep. Yeah. You're in range.
I smash it.
All right. Go ahead and roll to attack with your maul.
That is 15.
A 15 will hit. Go ahead and roll for damage.
11.
11 reduced half is 5. So it takes another 5 points of damage as you two just and you see a little hole and you go as your hands just shake as the creature just it seems to be rearing up and getting ready to smack down. Next up, Chef, you are up.
On fire!
Alright.
A warlock seems fun to use.
you put a bonfire underneath it. Roll for damage. Oh, does it have damage?
DC. Sorry. Dex save.
A dex save, really?
Dex save. DC is 12.
That was a 15, but minus 3, so that is 11. It does not make the save. Go ahead and roll for damage.
I roll for damage. 4 fire damage.
4 fire damage. It is resistant to fire, being a cauldron, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So, so it takes 2 points of fire damage as underneath it, its own fire, and it just goes shakes, shakes, shakes. And as another fire just ignites under it, you can see the excess bit of fire starts to crack the base and the bottom of it. You know, it's a little bit too hot for this thing who's just still warming up after a long time of not being used. It just and it doesn't say anything because it's a cauldron. And then next up is Mitra. You are up.
So I'm gonna take my great axe and just slam it.
Just slam it. All right. You move closer to it, and you go for the slam as everybody's just going ding, ding. All right, go ahead and roll for attack.
10.
Okay, 10
Plus?
plus?
10.
10 solid.
It's 10.
Oh, 10 all total?
Yeah, 10.
That hits. Roll for damage.
D total plus 3. 9.
9. Okay, that's 4 points of damage. So as you just cleave it on the mouth of its lip and it tears into the bottom, it's now just and you can see its lips just like the mouth of its cauldron.
You tried to bite me.
All right, and as it just goes, not really being able to move around a lot, it just then, being hit, ding dong, and as you point at it, you tried to eat me. It is now its turn, and it tries to eat you. I would like you to roll a dexterity saving throw. See ya, man. 3. 3?
You finally get me.
So, as the cauldron with a little tear in its mouth, then suddenly widens its mouth open, you tried to eat me, and it successfully swallows you.
Oh god.
As it just, and then it lunges you in, and it closes its mouth. You are now stuck. You are now considered grappled. Yeah, you're currently grappled, so you understand the condition? Yeah. So as you're in here, you're just going ding, 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 as the mouth closed, as you see some dents on the outside, and your butt is starting to feel real hot. And you take 2 points of fire damage.
On my temporary hit pointer.
So yeah, as you're being literally boiled inside here, which might appeal to the goblin. All right, that is the end. That is the end of the first round. Shu, you are up. As you go ding, and the ringing stops in your hand. You see it just swallow up Mitra.
My goodness. Okay, go back. I go up, stance, and try to hit it again.
All right, go ahead and roll to attack. Oh, roll to attack with advantage because it's technically grappling him.
Roll second time.
Yeah, roll a second time.
What was the first number? What was the first number?
Yeah, that's 5 just now.
What was the first number?
Just roll
5.
Just roll
5.
Five.
Roll
Roll
second.
one more.
Roll the second dice.
Roll one more.
Just roll one more dice.
7.
7. So 7 plus your attack modifier.
7.
Yeah, that confirm hits lah.
What?
7 plus 5, 12.
12. Yeah, 12 hits. Roll for attack.
Yeah, just 8, yeah. Do that.
6 plus 3, 9.
9 points of damage. All right. So as as you And once again, the 9 points of damage gets reduced to 4 points of damage as you and more cracks just web and trickle out. And while you're on the inside, you're like, oh, it's hot, and you try to move away from the bottom, and suddenly
What? How much do I take?
you take 4 points of damage.
Oh shit!
So yeah, that's what's happening there. Okay, so next up, Don, you're up.
I will smash.
Oh god!
Roll to attack. Roll to attack with advantage.
Natural 20. What's your rule again?
A natural 20. Just roll with your maximum damage on a mace is 12. So that's 12, and then roll damage. Roll your damage die.
Yeah, 2d6.
Oh, 2d6.
That's why.
Oh my god!
Shit. All right.
That's a 7. Plus 3, that's a 10, that's a 22 damage.
22 damage reduced to 11. So as you see the cracks, you see the webbing. You just
Wait,
go.
he's inside, right?
Yep, he's inside. And as he smacks his maul, and it breaks through the base, and it really smacks through the brass bottom. It goes through, and you feel the piercing bluntness go into your back, and you take 11 points of damage. How are you doing? What's your HP at now? That's right, baby! Die! So, all right.
Is he still alive?
Cauldron dead yet?
He's still alive, and the cauldron
cau-
the cauldron is still good too. Don't worry about it.
What?
The cauldron's still
Cauldron's still alive.
Still alive. It's resistant, dude. It's a cauldron. It's a construct. They have a ton of HP chunkiness on them. All right. So next up, Chef. Will you be the one to save our buddy here? So as you hear a guy inside screaming, ah! Ah!
You guys better save me!
Foot.
Chef!
Please, chef, not
Okay,
food!
fine. I snipe. Cut it.
What do you do?
Ice knife.
I snipe.
What's that?
Hold on.
Oh god!
Okay.
Please miss!
Go ahead and roll to attack.
Alright.
Like, this is lost situation.
So I have to roll the hit. And I roll.
Did you remember to roll with advantage?
Oh yeah, I do need to roll for advantage.
Oh please!
It's a 20, dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
All right, so
Fine,
that will
fine.
hit. Go
That's
ahead and
fine,
roll
that
for
will hit.
damage.
I will hit, so.
Go ahead and roll for damage. Die, Constance!
This is a trap!
Oh my god! Bloody hell!
9 damage. Piercing.
9 damage piercing.
I'm dead!
Okay. Which it gets reduced to 4.
And then after that, he needs to make a dexterity saving throw. Fail, you get 2d6 damage.
Is it ice damage?
That is a 7 minus 3.
So,
So he does not make it.
he does not make it.
So that's
2d6.
4 points of piercing damage plus how much ice damage? Go ahead and roll for ice damage.
8.
So
Ice
that is
damage.
a total of 8 points of damage. How do you want to do this?
At the same time.
How do you want to kill Constance?
The knife pierces through, and it explodes.
I'm dead! No!
Roll dexterity.
Oh, yeah, shit,
roll
yeah.
dex.
Roll a dex saving throw.
How much?
19!
19?
Yeah.
He
same.
makes it?
But you get half.
Okay,
So that you get 4.
Okay, you're dead.
So, just to visually describe what's happening here, he just goes like, food, no food, and then you see the little hole left by the mall, and you go, yeah, and as you bring up an ice knife into your head, and you shove it into the bottom base of that hole, it just goes through the small open hole and pierces through it,
as inside, Mitra just goes, "What the hell is?" Just dodges that thing, and he's like, "Whoa, that was close." As the cauldron then, king, and it breaks under the thermal pressure of fire and ice at the same time, cracks half open,
And then
out comes an unconscious.
do I get saving throw?
This is technically the end of combat, so anybody can medicine check him.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got your revenge! You got your revenge!
It's not enough until you die. You have to die.
I've got medicine, right?
Medicine.
No.
1 plus 1.
Yeah. So 10.
Medicine plus 1. He got 10.
Yep, he's fine.
You got your revenge!
I got my revenge. It's
my
not over yet, Constance. For every D20. so,
150.
so Mitra, as your limp, cold, and hot body, as your buns are burned by the fire, by the heat, and your body is frozen solid by the ice, you plop out and you just go. As the Don over here just goes, oh. Starts administering some CPR. You saw a very lovely looking Swede, a sous vide cooked Mitra over there, but oh, it's alive now. As you rise with 1 HP, as just go, and you see the broken cauldron in front of you. At this point, you are still okay.
Can I continue smashing the cauldron?
So you continue smashing the cauldron.
I hope you don't have PTSD after this.
All right. So as you continue looking around to find the vial, eventually you realize the rat's tail vial is because the root literally looks like a rat's tail. It is really like the pickled root looks an actual lot like a rat's tail. Very flexible looking, kind of rubbery looking.
I will never go near a cauldron ever again.
So you grab the rat's tail and you bump the frick out.
Follow me, teleporus.
All right. So as you make your way through to the forest once again, make another survival check, you son of a bitch. Yep. Make another survival check with advantage. Roll badly.
One of them's got. So
Don't
he
we
has
have
to
a
reroll.
pallet? Oh, we don't have a pallet here.
Wait, no, this one also caught. Because
Oh my god.
two of them was caught. Okay.
Made it worse.
Ethan! 7.
Are you sure we're going to the right place?
All right. You're a 7, right?
Yep.
A 7. A 7, you say? All right. Okay. So, as you continue on moving towards the forest, and you see the sights from the distance of Droskar's Crag, the tall mountain with the ice-tipped tops.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to follow on there. So you decide, let's just head towards there. That's where the monastery is. So you continue going into the dark forest. And once again, it's dark, but you're pretty sure you're on the right way. However, your internal clock tells you that it's been a while, and it's starting to get much colder and darker, and you realize night has come. And
Wait,
so,
before that, I used my second win.
yes, you can. So after this, after beating down on the cauldron and walking back into the forest,
Oh, I used the wrong dice.
you stop there and you just start breathing. You breathe your Tai Chi in, and you recover how much health?
Plus my fighter's level,
Yes,
9.
9. So you recover 9 points of health. What's your health actually?
110.
10. All right. So yeah, you're 1 point under. All right. So
No, I'm 2
at this
points
point, it is dark and it is night, and you already know that moving through the dark when it's night is quite dangerous, and this is not a very, very safe place for you at all. So, being the ranger leading the group, what would you like to do in this situation?
Don, are we in the right track?
We are the right track.
Are you sure, Don?
I'm pretty sure.
Time to kill my players.
Good news. Good
Don't
news.
kill
You're
Shem.
on a right track. Bad news. Nighttime. More bad news. Monsters. Worse news.
No shit, Sherlock. We know this dark. We know that we're in trouble. We're in a huge ass trouble.
Possible a wolf.
Alright, so what do you do here? Do
I
you
am
But
not in the mood to do this.
Okay. I have an idea. But I will keep trying to have to make sure animal get away from me.
Alright. What do you do?
I don't know if this works. Because I'm gonna just feel it.
God.
Because for animal to can smell us, so
Where you want? Where they coming from?
they can smell us.
Where they come from? Where they come from? Tell chef. Possible come to us, but north, left, right, back. I don't know. But when the cook the rabbit, I gonna throw it far away, then we go forward. Huh?
Sounds like a plan. I barely understand it, but sounds like a plan.
Yep, essentially the non-binary group over here wants to lay some bait. Alright, okay. So, this will be a bit tricky. Is that what you were trying to do?
No.
What was your plan?
What's your maybe upwind, maybe downwind.
Yes.
Gus.
Okay. Interesting. I would like both of you to do a survival check.
Oh yeah, sis. Yeah, cut. Alright, that's fine. 13.
13?
13.
13. Oh, damn. Okay. I guess it'll work. Alright, so as you guys wait in the forest right here, and you see the night coming down, and you don't feel very secure at all, you hear that same buzzing from before, the beep, and you listen to it closer as it seems like a swarm of them. Like not just a singular bzzz, but a swarm of whatever this thing is. And you hear it, it sounds like a heavy beating wings. Not a beast exactly, but it sounds like a mosquito, but like a huge mosquito, like a really big mosquito, and there's a lot of them. And so as you realize, you decide to pull out some of those dead rabbits that you had from before,
Yeah.
and you lay them down into the ground, and you try to make them bloody by getting some of the vials of blood that you drained off them and just swiping them in blood.
Yeah.
And as you walk away, Chef, you see what's happening here, and you start gusting. You start gusting the smell of the blood downwind as you just blow it further and blow it further. And as you guys move further away and continue moving on further away, you hear the sounds of many as they stop and land somewhere off where you left it. And at this point, you fucking run.
Okay. Run!
Alright, so
Don't touch! Just follow me!
at this point, you guys are not taking a long rest. Is that what's happening?
Yes!
Short rest.
Yes!
Alright. So you power on through.
Do we have an exhaustion?
Yes. So as you tunnel on, pass through the forest, running past your exhaustion, the moment as you leave the Dark Moon Vale, as the sun starts rising, and you see that you're in the shadow of Droskar's Crag, in front of this huge cavern, and you see a little building off into the distance, the monastery. You all take 1 level of exhaustion. And so on your character sheet there should be, just mark it down somewhere as exhaustion, and what that means, mechanically,
Minus one is it?
what?
Minus one is it?
A level 1 exhaustion. That's what you put in. Hold on, where is my exhaustion table? Oh, so that means you now have disadvantage on your ability checks. So your ability checks are now at a disadvantage. Oh, dude, it is 3:59. How are you doing on time?
Di, purpose na ito naman. 5.
5. Okay, I think we'll be able to finish this before then. Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. So you guys are exhausted out of the woods. As you make your way, finally there's an actual proper path. Maybe it's an old gravel path that hasn't been used a while. There's a few weeds on it, but it's a path. And so you continue walking onto your path as you get closer and closer to the monastery.
Finally.
It's at the foot of the mountain, at the base of the tall Droskar's Crag, and as you make your way towards it, it is a stone-built, building.
it looks like it's worn down and broken at certain spots. But then as you get closer and closer, something weird is happening. As you get closer, the size of the monastery doesn't really look right to you. And when you finally make it to the entrance of the arches, it is much shorter, much smaller than you would initially think. And as the monk here would know, as a dwarven monastery, this monastery was built to the size of dwarves. So the ceilings are shorter, not incredibly short, but shorter.
Can we throw the goblin inside?
So as you see,
Yummy mushrooms.
goblin mushrooms. So as you see here, the monastery is worn down. It's broken down in different places. There's a watchtower and a main hall inside. You see a bunch of tracks from the entrance to the inside. A bunch of tracks going in and out. And without even thinking, you recognize the tracks as tracks of a herd of wargs. Similar sized footprints of large wolves.
Rest in peace, dwarves. Okay.
I think
Mushrooms outside.
I will tell.
You find no mushrooms.
Mushrooms
You know the mushrooms grow in places that have metal deposits and are in a dark, damp area. And it's currently out in the open, and there's no dark, damp spots.
I haven't done anything. My eye is so wide, like.
I do not know what's going to happen. I don't know what's happening. to
Weapons
the
up, boys. Weapons up.
But is it? I think if you need to go inside, we need to. You know what? You know. It's actually.
I will tell them what we're gonna
You
fix.
take out your book.
And I read.
Get ready, my great axe.
Anything good here? Maybe something.
What are you looking for?
Something to give guidance.
Make an intelligence check.
Goblins are not intelligent. And
We're smart but not wise. But this time,
Let's see.
disadvantage, right?
Yes.
I'm just gonna hate myself. Yeah. So that is still a straight intelligence check would be 4.
4. Right. So, in your exhaustion, you're flipping through the book like it's like how to cook for goblins, how to the best bulwarks in season, or or a treant, your friend, or barbecue charcoal. As you continue to move by your cookbook, and you're not really finding anything helpful. You find a page that's like bugbear's delight, and you just keep like moving through your book, not really finding anything.
I'm just hungry now.
Yeah, and now you're just hungry, and
I'll give him one of my rations.
in all of your intelligence, you know that hunger is a great motivator for stuff. So if you're gonna appeal to anyone, it's probably through their stomach. But how you decide to do that will be up to you.
Boys.
Wait.
I know you're hungry, but dude.
Don't we have some rations from that day?
Oh yeah, you do. I assume you've already eaten those rations. Anyways, so as you guys are waiting up here, you hear the sounds of 2 howls coming from inside the monastery.
Oh god.
And as you see the entrance, 2 wolves come out.
I hide.
You hide?
I hide.
All right, go ahead and roll for stealth.
Oh wait, they're howling, right? I try to howl back at the same nature.
7?
Wait. Do I have any? Where's my spell? 18.
18. Holy shit, 7 to an 18?
No, it was 17.
17.
Oh,
Oh,
7. Wait.
oh, at a disadvantage?
Oh wait.
Why'd you have to remind me?
I'm the DM.
14.
I can't
14,
hide.
still not bad.
I can't hide it all. I had to roll 3 times. I have chainmail.
Wait. I'm a.
Oh no, disadvantage doesn't stack.
You're a goblin, right?
I'm a goblin.
So can I hide it
No,
as
I
well?
can.
Okay, go ahead, roll for with disadvantage. Are you hiding as well as the wolves come out?
Ah yeah.
Double 12.
I tried. Wait, they howl, right? I try to howl back as the same nature. It's fine here.
He wants to talk to me.
You want to talk to the wolves?
It's a beast, so favorite animal beast.
All right, go
I
ahead and
wish
roll.
you good luck, my man.
Yeah, go ahead and roll for animal handling with disadvantage.
I hate
Oh wait, you
exhaustion.
had an advantage with beast.
Yeah.
So this would be a straight roll. Roll an animal handling straight roll.
Yep.
So he's either gonna get you guys killed or be the hero of the story.
30. Animal handling, right?
Yeah.
16.
16. Alright, so as the rest of you see the wolves come out and you're like fuck, 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 and you
All
just
this is ready.
you dive behind the door, you get behind the arches getting ready. One guy, the goblin hides in the weeds, and the chainmail wielding fighter just goes ching 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 ching, just against the shadow of the monastery. The wolves then suddenly come out, and as they go, you just throw your voice, and what do you say?
Well, I'm gonna hold back. It's fine here.
So you're going to, so you decide to use an animal call
Yep.
as you go.
What are you doing, Don?
So as you guys look at Don as he's making the dumbest wolf sounds, the wolves just go. And as they go off towards a completely different area,
I do not know what just happened, but okay.
You may be weird, but good job.
so as you guys were like, damn, okay, and you then suddenly hear another howl, a more guttural come from inside, and you feel the walls just kind of shake a little bit from the echo of the wolf. Out comes from the main wall a large wolf. This looks like an alpha-sized warg, as this large hulking body just looks out, and he just goes, just sniffing out. It calls out, oh, and then
that call.
and as you interpret the call, it's a call of like, you know, like where are you? And then the two wolves from the distance, as they run off to the side, just go as they're like far away now, and the creature just goes, and so it just then sniffs.
Hold on.
Come on, give me a good roll for the damn day. It's another 4. So as the creature just goes, it just sneezes for a moment, and it just goes, and it just like turns around and starts entering back into its little mansion.
The monastery?
It enters back into the monastery as it just heads off in, and it looks like it's heading down the hallway into one of the larger areas, probably where it keeps its nest. It stays as its nest. What do you guys do?
I sneak in.
You sneak in. Are you all sneaking in?
Wait, before that.
I'm
before
joining
that.
Chef.
All
I'm
right.
joining Chef, but I have disadvantage.
Well, you all have disadvantage.
Okay.
All right, so you're also joining him.
No, don't follow Chef.
I'm gonna like
You need muscle.
you
Chef,
two,
Chef,
you two go. You two go.
You two go.
Non-binary group. You're a go.
Alright, you two go. Let's go.
All right, so ranger, and sorcerer, roll a stealth check with disadvantage.
Oh god.
That's right,
Do I
baby.
get anything?
We
Is
hit.
there no
As a gnome, for what are you trying to do exactly?
keep myself?
What kind of gnome are you?
I don't know. I don't remember. I'm just sorry, goblin.
Oh, you're a goblin, yeah. Oh yeah, goblin.
Do I get any stealth?
Not for stealth exactly, no.
Never mind.
So yeah, go ahead
I
and
know I can disengage.
yes. So yeah, go ahead and roll with disadvantage. What do you got? What do you got for me?
Alright, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's a 15.
15.
Wow, that's a
Hey, no,
good
wait,
roll.
wrong. Recalculate that. That is 17.
17.
That's even better.
All right. 7. All right.
Goblin.
So, as chef.
Oh wait.
Oh, you have inspiration.
11.
That actually helps. That actually helps.
Unless regret giving out inspiration.
It's what inspiration's for. Remember, he was trying to look for you by smelling. He got a 4, so you technically beat him. So if I roll again, for that perception, that passive perception is not going to be very high. Yeah, no, you beat it. So yeah, Chef, once again, you're inside and you remember that joke you were telling earlier. You remember Laurel, the sassy lady, and you're like, oh, that sassy lady is gonna hear all about this. You go and stuff as you just climb onto the floor, following, and as the ranger follows along, they go into the mansion and they disappear. As you two outside, as the cisgender group outside, you see them go in and you see them quietly make their way in, but you're not feeling great. You hear the sound of snarling, and you're kind of wondering where the sound of snarling is coming from. I'd like both of you to also make stealth checks. With disadvantage, yes.
How is the disadvantage?
Would you get double 20s? If you get double 20s, then that would be ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
I'm calling bullshit on that.
So if it's a disadvantage,
You roll 2d20s and take the
What do you
lower
get?
result.
just do this one.
That's still pretty freaking good.
Oh no. I feel bad for you now. Oh! That one!
Oh god.
Time to kill the party.
Wait.
Please don't kill Chef. Told a good joke.
I have a 16. Normal 16s.
Okay, normal 16 and a 1. All right, let's do this. So,
I will yeet myself away.
as the non-binary group, you enter in and you follow the hallway where the warg was coming from. You see the fur, you see where his foot trails track. And as you make your way towards a little bit of the hallway, the door is open, and as you look on in, it is a large open hallway, but there's a wall missing. Like a wall, and like the upper floor has been collapsed, and there is some sunlight coming in. It is mostly in shade, but you see the sunlight coming in, and you see there the giant warg just basking in the sunlight, seeming to be warming up himself. He seems to be just sneezing just a little bit. You guys, you scale the outside of the monastery, and you follow out the walls, and you see there's like broken art parts, and then you suddenly hear the sound of "Hach!" and you're like, you make your way closer, and you see this broken down area as a Mitra. You look around the corner of that broken spot, and you just look around, and you see like a wall of fur, and you're like.
Meanwhile,
And then as he slowly moves away, and you're like, what the hell is that? And then you decide to look over around yourself. You look around, and you see a wall of fur with eyes. As the wolf face to face with you. As you're like,
why it is becoming cartoons?
so.
Can you surprise it again?
So at that point, you guys see from your point of view, you guys saw it's like, okay, he's asleep. We can sneak away by. Achoo! And it's like, oh, bless you. And then suddenly, poof, wait a minute, is that Mitra? And the wolf just goes, looks around the corner, and then, and you're like. So, at this point,
So we see that.
you see that. I would like the two of you to roll for initiative.
Oh no!
During that time, can I just
Is
signal?
it with disadvantage?
Yes.
Oh god.
Wait.
Hold on. Before you do that, Chef, roll a perception check, because your perception would be good on this.
Oh, perception check. Can I also roll for as well?
No, is this specifically to him?
Oh, specific order for him.
Because I saw it. You were
How much
right
is it?
behind me.
What's your lowest?
My lowest was 18.
All right. So, what you got? 16.
What it was no 16 just now.
Oh, it was like, yeah.
Oh, what the shit? What the frick? What? So marnietes.
No, my dice gave you a 20. Oh, my dice gave you a 20.
I'm alive!
Okay, so you.
19.
I got a 19, so I'm...
Oh, yo, my dice gave you a 20, man.
All right, so this is going to be either a really long session or a short one, and that's another 4.
Alright.
I hate you, dice.
I love
The dice don't like you.
Yep.
They betrayed you. Every single one of them.
Every single one has been betraying me. God damn it. Every single damn one. Oh my gosh, what the hell, man? Seriously. Okay, so at this point, the two of you outside, again, let's just go to the battle board here.
Do I,
And put
am,
Yep, you guys go
am
up.
I at disadvantage for my perception?
Yes, technically, yeah.
Alright, so that's a 3.
That's a 3. All right, so put you guys over here. All right, and as you're looking around and you see them, and you're like, oh no, and suddenly, and as they run off, and it just goes around the corner, you're just like, yeah. And as you look around, you're like, there is a bunch of forges around this area, and there looks to be a lot of like iron deposits from like where you were forged, just littered around the area. And you realize, if there's anywhere that's gonna have those mushrooms, it's probably in here.
Okay.
Let's hope the cisgender group can buy you enough time.
Yeah, let's go!
Let's go!
So people gonna find the mushrooms.
Yep. So two guys, the non-binary group are looking for mushrooms while they're running the fuck away.
Do we attack them?
We're fighting, right?
We're fighting, right?
Yep. All right. So
I'll go first.
round 1 of the initiative. Chew, you are up as the creature just goes and just goes.
So I slide out, confront it, pick up my quarter staff, and begin charging up with my quarter staff.
All right. So you head on over. As you're like, damn it. Go ahead and roll to attack.
Is this involved with a disadvantage?
No. This is an attack roll.
12.
That is a 12 plus
Plus your...
attack roll modifier. 5. So that will be 16. 16 will hit.
That's quite high actually for. No, but it's makes
Then
sense.
I'll damage with
6.
I don't know, I'm talking about
5 points of damage.
Yeah, but you know how much?
swing it as much as I can.
So you swing it and it smacks the warg on its nose, and this thing has a huge hump on its back, and its front claws are just embedded into the ground. You smack it and you feel how well rooted it is. It just goes and just goes. Oh my god, it's snarling. Oh yeah.
Oh, my turn, right?
It is your turn. Yep.
I have one idea after you
He got a 20. He got a 20.
Fine. How did go? Roll to attack. Wait, what
You know,
are you
you know
using?
what? I don't think you should...
A quick axe?
Great axe.
Great axe. A great axe damage
12.
die is
12. A d12 plus 3.
so 12 plus roll for damage.
So, d12.
Yeah, d12. Go ahead and roll. 1. All right. So 12 plus 1, 13 plus your damage modifier.
3. So it's...
So that's 14 points of damage. So that is 14 points of damage. That's big boy damage. So as as you and it just goes, you swipe in from the side. It just goes snarling at you. All right, and then it will be up to the warg over here as it just looks at both of you and it looks at the one that saw first as it goes to attack you. Come on, don't fuck me up. Come on, I'm using my damn rings. Why didn't I use these before? There we go. That is a 1.
Everything is failing you today!
So as it, let's just visualize that, all right? So as you smack its nose, it just goes, it goes and opens its wide teeth. Those long teeth are going after your leg, and suddenly Mitra comes in with a and just goes, starts growling at the both of you, and just goes, ooh, starts howling, and it sounds like it's calling for help. All right, and at the end of that turn, both of you, you're looking for it.
Mushrooms!
Roll for survival, roll for nature, roll for investigation. Whichever one, with disadvantage.
What's highest? What's highest?
99.
10.
10?
9.
9. 10 for a
Investigation.
investigation.
Survival.
Survival. All right. So as you look around, you're just like, oh god, you first look at the places with most iron deposits, and you just keep looking and keep looking, and you're like, where the fuck is it? Where the fuck is it? And in your exhaustion, you have forgotten to neglect that a mushroom needs soil somewhat, and you're only looking at the areas where iron deposits are on top of stone. So you're just like, where is it? Where is it? And in your case, you're looking around. You're looking around in between the soils, but in the middle of sunlight. So you're like, where is it? Where is it? But it's in sunlight, so of course it's not gonna be there. But in your exhaustion, you're just like, come on, where is everything?
I kid you not, I had a nat 20.
Well, lucky me. I should use exhaustion more often.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the top of the fighting round. Chew. So it's trying to take you down. It's trying to bite onto you and grab you.
So you roll initiative again.
No, you don't roll for anything. Roll for attack. If you're rolling for attack, go ahead. You can be creative. You don't only have to attack. You can be creative and work with each other to do stuff. Like what I do with my friends, I grab some rope and try to choke them to death or something like that. It's up to you guys.
What do you have? You got anything?
You're buying time.
What's the signet ring?
You're buying time, and I'm saying to you right now, even with the 4 of you, this is a hard fight.
Yes.
What are we gonna do?
A signet ring is just a ring with your noble symbol on it.
Don't you have anything in that huge
I
cup of
have
yours?
2 days of rations.
What? Wait. I think I have an idea for this.
Alright, what do
Why
you
don't
do?
we just throw that rations into works?
Can we just throw it further away?
We could.
Eat.
You want to eat it?
Eat it.
We shall eat it.
All right. So
I'll pass it to him.
all right, as is like, throw this, as it just goes snarling. It's like, oh yes, Mr. Sir. I would like you to roll a deception check with disadvantage.
Charisma. Oh my god.
That's right.
18.
One more.
Come on, like, give me a good number. What is that? We hate exhaustion.
We should take a long rest, man.
All right.
Okay,
So
had
that's
no
a 4.
time.
That's a 4. Time to insight that. That is a 3. I hate everything today. I just started. I rolled with everything.
It kept on being at 4.
So as you see the warg and it just
He's
goes,
perpetually getting 4.
and you see the saliva coming from out of its mouth, you then hear the sound of its stomach just rumbling, and it just goes, just watches you, and it just snaps at it, snaps at the food, and it is going to miss his turn. Mitra, you're up.
Oh my god.
It's a surprise, right?
It's not surprise. It's just eating. It's using its turn to just eat.
Better smack it hard, man. Better smack it hard.
So I roll.
19.
19 will hit.
1.
10.
10 points of damage. All right. All right. So as it's in the middle of eating, as it's just finished its last bite, and you can feel the heat emanating off its body as if it's just got a recharge from eating, as suddenly a side swipe of a great axe to the side of the head.
Cheap shot.
It just finished eating, and then you swipe it at the side of the head. All right, as the 2 of you inside, you're just like, oh, where is it? And you hear the sounds of, just eat it, and then you hear like, eat what? And then, and suddenly, what the hell is going? And it's like, what the hell is going out there? And you smell blood coming from outside. You're like, yeah, let's hurry up. Roll for another perception check.
Perception check.
Perception. Only.
Perception check, yeah. Sorry. Roll for survival or whatever.
Okay.
That's really freak.
Oh, that's bad for you. 14.
14.
Oh,
14.
14.
14. All right.
Okay, for my part, it can be perception or survival, right? In perception, survival is still same thing. It's a 6.
It's a 6. All right. So as you grab it, you grab more of the iron ore. You're like, ugh, this is useless. As you keep chucking it into the air and keep chucking it into the air, and you don't realize that you're chucking it across the wall to the other side where they are. As the dust of the iron just starts flickering down, you guys see it, and you're like, oh gosh. As the wolf just goes and starts looking back in, it just howls even louder. As you hear the response of other howls coming nearby.
That hall. Can I counter that hall?
Unfortunately, you already did your action here. All right, and in your case, you look through the iron sockets, you look through the deposits, you find the damn forge, and you see nothing in the corners, nothing in the darkness, and you're like, shit, where is it? And then you realize it's probably being eaten already. So look for somewhere they couldn't go. And as you look to the side and you see the table full of the iron and the anvils, you shove an anvil to the side, and you see sprouts of the red blood iron mushrooms. And true to their name, they look shiny on the surface and red blood.
I take a dagger.
You begin putting them together.
You got it?
As the two of them shout out, "We found him! Run!" And as you guys are like face to face with the wolf,
Took you long enough.
I yeet myself out of a window.
Mission Impossible starts. No. It's like that scene from Scott Pilgrim, and it's like, oh, is Scott here? And it's like, oh, you know, you just missed him.
Right behind him.
You're through the window. I'm like,
All right, so I want. Well, you guys, you can run away, not too bad. You guys, I would like you to make acrobatics or athletic checks with disadvantage to see whether you can yeet yourselves the hell out of this fight.
Wrong dice.
What do I have the highest? Acrobatic, what?
acrobatic or
Athletics, right?
That wasn't that 20, this was a
Wait, dexterity. Plus 3.
18.
18, all right.
Ah, shit.
With disadvantage.
I have plus 5 for athletics, 12.
Please, no, this is my first roll.
Wait, 17. Oops, 17.
16!
16.
19.
Let's see if we can catch up to you. That's a nat 1. I ain't kidding. I'm not fudging none of this. It's for real.
What in the world?
It's for real. I ain't fudging that. That's for real.
That's a natural one.
So, as
He trips on his own tail.
so, as the two of you hear the sounds of "We've got it," and then you hear the sounds of a window breaking as a goblin flies out, and another ranger flies out of the window, and you wonder why did they take the window? There's a door right there. As you guys are like, hey, you know, Mr. Warg, I think we've had a very productive day. We can run. And as the two of you yeet away, and the wolf starts chasing after you, it trips on its own tail.
Oh, there wasn't that 20 with this thing.
Hold on. It was make more fun. He tripped the iron dust. I throw it out.
Oh yeah, it gets some iron dust in its eye, the one that he chucked over the wall. It's like, and it trips over its tail. Yep, that's better. And so at that point, you guys have escaped this encounter without killing the warg, and you run the hell away from it. Eventually, you meet up outside the Darkmoon Vale as you're making your way back to the town. It's gonna be another 3 days. It's been a day and a half since you guys have been away. You don't know how many people have died, but you know the death count is mounting. However, as you're making your way out of the Darkmoon Vale next to the river, you see a bunch of those rangers. Remember the people that you sent to the wood? And from the maybe 11 people that went out, you know, the lumberjacks, like 2 or 3 guys are remaining. As they're holding onto like a little pouch full of moss, as they see you, as like, we got it.
Follow us in front of it. Come on.
And so with their horses, you know, like and their carriage, as they're like, screw the book, let's go.
Let's go.
As you hear the sounds of
I come
from the distance, as they're like, oh god, more.
I will counter back with
So you dash off in your cargo, in your caravan, as you make your way back to Falcon's Hollow. As you make it there,
all of the ingredients in. Laura just goes, well, damn, I didn't think y'all survive. Seeing you all, covered in mud, exhausted, scar marks on top of each other, she finishes putting together the medicines, and over the course of those days that you left, about another 11 or so people died. Fortunately, that little boy is still alive.
Somehow!
Wow.
He was supposed to die in 3 days. That's what I rolled.
Whoa.
That's what I rolled. He would die in 1d4 days. So I rolled a 3.
So we made it.
So you literally just
Barely made it.
barely made it today. And as he's like on his deathbed, the medicines come in and you rescue everyone else who's inflicted by the plague. And that is where we end today's session. And congratulations, everybody. You saved Falcon's Hollow.
Oh my god, that close. Oh.
That was a good session, guys.
No, that close.
Well done. Well done.
Well, good thing we did not fight. Good thing we only fight one alpha wolf.
Yeah.
Not two
I had
wolves and an alpha.
I had a giant plain snake. I had a bunch of wolves.
You
a
really
bunch
wanted
of,
us to die.
Why do you think I planned for this? But as you saw all day today,
Okay.
Let's just give him credit. He did it really well.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna. Okay, let's give it credit.
DM good, DM good. Thank you.
Alright.
they're happy. They're happy when I roll bad.
I'm happy that he rolled good too.
I'm happy that I just won a close call.
I'm just happy we managed to yeet outside of the window. Out of the window.
I'm happy that it was so fun and what the hell just happened.
Okay, yes, you
But-
all rolled great against me. I get it.
Yo, I don't know about you.
No, the
I rolled
cauldron,
bad.
the cauldron. I now have a PTSD for cauldrons.
I had
I
to use
rolled
that
good
inspiration.
with you and him.
All right, so that is the end of today's session. Are we off the stream? Not yet?
Not yet.
Oh, okay, so we're saying goodbye. That is our session for today. We're
you.
here at BS once again with our new players. We're Wild Magic. Look for us on Instagram, on all our social medias, and look out for more adventures like this. Ladies and gentlemen, say bye, everybody.
Bye.